Jakey and I are going to go ahead and break down the entire UFC Vegas 71 fight card, giving you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our fantasy plays. Before we talk about this event, let's talk about last event. I'll let Jacob have his moment to talk about what he did. But at UFC 285, we netted you 13.13 units of profit. That includes Valentina Shevchenko busting the safety parlay. Lucky for us, we were not overly exposed to Valentina Shevchenko. Obviously, she destroyed the safety parlay.
And I said that she could have lost. Oh, you said don't intro.
Outside of that, I said don't interrupt the intro before we went live. Outside of that, we put up 13 units of net profit. That's net profit. And if you were a premium member, you got all of Jacob's bets. I put up almost a unit of profit. Jacob put up actually, you did put up 15 units of profit because you cashed heavy on a plus 727 parlay without Valentina, and you had a plus 600 Tabitha Ricci. Guys, it's only $10 a month to be a premium member. Unlock all of these for every single event. And we have added metrics and analytics. You guys love the line movement tracker, and you said, we want more data. So we went out and we built a 38-column spreadsheet with data. Yes, this data is available in the world. We didn't invent these numbers. They're out there. You can get them yourself. If you have 8 free hours every single week to build this, so we've built it for you. We've added conditional formatting. It is 38 columns of detailed information from 5 or 6 different sources that come together. You can work your way across, make decisions, find your spots, and use this for your own research purposes. That is available for premium members, all included in that $10. We then take that massive color-coded spreadsheet. We chop it up into individual charts, throw those on the website as well, so you can now interact, you can sort, you can do whatever you want to do with that data, with that information, and make your own decisions. And we still have the line movement tracker. This card has a lot of movement, but I think there's only 2 fights that flipped from favorite to underdog, so nothing wild, but keep an eye on that line movement tracker because there are some fights starting to take off. All of that is available to you at only $10 a month. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10. You get the bets, the picks, the DraftKings optimized. You get everything you could ever imagine for freaking $10 a month. There is not a single thing out there that somebody is selling that we don't have. WeWantPicks.com, just $10 a month. And if you want $50, all you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners using our link, and I'll send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. When you use the link and you create an account and you make a deposit, they're going to pay me. And then I'm going to cut off a piece of that. I'm going to give it to you because we are in this together. We're building a community. I make money. You make money. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use our link, sign up, make a deposit, and we'll send you $50 as a thank you. Jakey, here's your moment. Jacob went to UFC 285, wore that ridiculous shirt, and met Amanda Ribas.
One of the best, moments in my life. And it wasn't like it was a planned thing. It's actually kind of funny because obviously her fight was over. The fight was amazing. She dominated just like I said she would. I mean, come on, it wasn't even close against my girl Vivi. But she won the fight, and we're standing there. And obviously, if you guys didn't know, I did go to UFC 285. I have a vlog if you guys want to watch the vlog. The whole night, the whole experience was awesome, but this moment was incredible. Her fight was over, and we noticed that in our section, you can walk all the way down to where the fighters happen to be walking out. Because we've seen a few fights before that, or whatever. And my friend's like, you should go down there. I'm like, I'm not. Because I'm not one of those guys that's like, when it comes to celebrities, it's like, oh, I need the picture, I need an autograph. It's like, they're people too. I understand their status and stuff. Even Amanda, it was like, yeah, I don't want to, I'm just not that type of person. But then I was like, you know what? I was just enough, I would say, inebriated to be like, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's see what happens here. Just thinking that maybe she would like see it, like whatever, but didn't expect what was going to happen. And then it was the way that she got excited was like threw me way off because I didn't know what to expect, but I did not expect her to be more excited, I think, than I was. It was the craziest thing. And in the video, you can hear me just absolutely giggling. I was so happy we took the picture, and she told me to send her the video, and I did, but she didn't really respond. So I've been messaging her like, hey, you told me to message you, but you haven't been messaging me back. And then I recorded a video today, and I sent that. I'm like, hey, me again. So we've been, and I didn't tell you about this. I haven't told anyone about this.
There we go.
I don't know if I should. I don't know if I should tell you. All right, I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna say. And this is 100% true. This is 100% true. So you can't really tell in the video, but when she like reaches around my back like that, apparently, I don't know why you're laughing. Somehow she had her room key on her, right? So she reached around, and after I like later in the night, I realized that I had her room key. It was at the Hard Rock. The issue was I don't know the room number. So she gave me her room key. You can kind of tell in the panned out shot. You can see she kind of slips it in. But I didn't know the room number. So I literally spent 3.5 hours before I finally just gave up going to every single door in the Hard Rock. Nope. Never figured it out. So that was my chance.
Well, I'm happy for you. Thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation for making that happen for Jacob.
Oh, you said you took that out, but then here it is.
I said I took it out, and I didn't. You started telling that stupid key story. I was like, you know what? Let's give people the truth.
It crossed my mind to be like, hey, I'm also a cancer survivor. I am a cancer survivor. But it was crazy. You know what the other part was? She literally almost didn't sign this little kid's autograph because she was so excited about their shirt. She whips around, points at it, like had to make a decision between like one of us, and the little kid just standing there with the Sharpie, and she's like, started to walk towards me, and she was like, looked at me and was like, is it okay? I'm like, Amanda, it's fine, baby girl. Handle your shit. And then she got real excited and touched all over me, and we fist bumped, and we went on our way.
All right. Well, I'm happy for you. That worked out. Let's go ahead and break down this card. People want more of those units. We gave him 15. Well, you gave him 15. Lost a few. Netted him 13. Let's go ahead and give him some more. Woo. Opening up, UFC Vegas 71. We have Tyson Nam taking on Bruno Silva. Tyson Nam 21-12 overall. 3-2 in his last 5. Coming off that KO win over Ode Osborne. Bruno Silva 12-5 overall. 2-1 in his last 5. Coming off a 2-year layoff. This is one of those fights where the odds flipped. Tyson Nam opened up as the favorite.
I actually didn't know that.
He has flipped to almost a 2-1 dog. And it's interesting because Tyson Nam is a very powerful guy. We saw that in his last fight. He's sort of a low-volume guy, but he has solid takedown defense, technical striking, and just big-time power in his hands. Bruno Silva, we haven't seen him in a few years. He's very well-rounded guy, super busy. He's got solid power, strong wrestling, nasty submissions. He's pretty good everywhere, honestly. He started his UFC career with a bit of a skid, but he got that back together. He's had a couple of long layoffs, including this one that he's just coming back from now. To me, this is a close fight. This whole card was super tricky. Last card, UFC 285, one single underdog won, and it was the second largest underdog on the entire card.
So what was Lock Week supposed to do? You know what I mean?
No, I actually said that in my recap video. I'm like, people
those are the best people. Like, oh, nice call, Lock of the Week. It's like, I would have lost with everyone. I'm not going to pick Grasso, even though I said that she could have won, but I'm going to pick her.
If you picked her, you would have been absolutely clowned on, and then obviously it would have worked out. But anyway, it's an interesting fight. It's a close fight. I think Bruno Silva is the better all-around fighter. I think Bruno Silva has the wrestling advantage, the more technical striking.
You said no
Tyson Nam's gonna hit real hard. He's gonna be in his face. I think Bruno Silva's the pick, but the reality is I already have a bet on Tyson Nam. I did inside the distance, decision no action at -120. I did it before you did. Check the Discord stream. You copied my bet.
I think the odds aren't as good anymore because I got it for +100, I believe.
Well, then it's going the other way because I placed it before you did.
I know.
Well, anyway, I got Tyson Nam wins inside the distance, decision no action. Meaning, if he flatlines Bruno Silva the same way he did Ode Osborne, I get paid. If he gets taken down and controlled the way Bruno Silva has done a few of his other opponents, then I'll get a full refund. I like that bet because Tyson is tough and Bruno's dangerous, but not like the best finisher in the world. I think all the finishing upside is on Tyson, but I still think Tyson loses. What do you think, Jicky Boy?
Yeah, so I agree and I disagree a little bit. I think that if this was... The layoffs always are kind of weird, especially against a guy like Tyson Nam, because he is such a good boxer. He stays safe. I mean, he does get hit every once in a while, but he stays safe for the most part with his footwork, fantastic footwork, in and out movement, stays in your face while still, you can't really hit the guy with the slip and rip. And Bruno Silva is not like a strong boxer to begin with, and now to try to find that timing early on a guy like Tyson Nam is really kind of an issue because you get hit once by Tyson Nam and he can absolutely put you out. He came off a layoff on his own before his last fight and looked fantastic. I think he had blew out his knee and looked absolutely fantastic on Ode. And I know Ode was stupid throwing that knee, but he timed it perfect. And the exchanges before that, he was really, really touching up Ode. 39 years old, but he doesn't look like he's aging at all. The speed was there. The footwork was there. In this matchup, I feel like he is going to be the much better striker in a mostly striking match because Bruno does have wrestling, does have takedowns, but I watched that David Dvorak fight where he got 3 takedowns. One was kind of a caught kick that he was able to take down. One, he had David Dvorak hurt, so then he was able to get the takedown. And there was another that was another takedown that was pretty clean, but after each takedown, he was also reversed in those positions. So, yeah, he's getting those takedowns, but Tyson Nam's not a guy that I think can get taken down over and over. That's Bruno's path to victory. So I got to go with Tyson Nam here, the better striker in what I think is going to be a mostly striking matchup.
And you flipped this pick, by the way.
Well, I literally didn't watch. Like, I knew who each guy was, but I didn't watch anything because I was whatever, and I had to make my picks or whatever. So once I started watching stuff, I'm like, oh, yeah, Bruno Silva striking is not very good, and his wrestling's not good enough to get it done.
Yeah, I think Bruno's the all-around better fighter, but Tyson Nam's the more dangerous one, hence my bet. So, listen, Tyson Nam wins inside a distance. I get paid, and who cares about the pick? I bet
have that same one. Side. I got it for plus 105.
And somebody in the live stream said it's plus... I can't. The live stream's moving really fast. They chat.
Ooh, boom,
it's
boom,
plus... I don't know. I mean, that's what I get for hitting it early, I guess. Okay. Block this dude.
I think that's a guy banned in Discord today.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't. You have to ban him. I can't. I can hide him, I guess.
Yeah. Tyson Nam, $7,300 in DraftKings. Bruno Silva, $8,900. I think Tyson Nam's a solid underdog in this spot. Bruno Silva could score well if he goes the wrestling route. If not, then Tyson Nam's going to be the pick here. So with DraftKings for $7,300, I think he's a solid underdog. It's a weird card. I don't know. You gonna spend that $7,300 on Tyson Nam? Because do you think he could win a decision?
I think Tyson.
Or do you think it's pretty much just all power?
No, I think he win. I think he win a decision. He's gone to decision, pretty close decisions before in fights, and I think he can win a decision for sure. I'm just trying to figure out why the odds would flip that much. I don't get it.
He probably opened as a favorite coming off his last fight, and then people looked at it a little closer and were like, "Listen, he's not the better fighter in this matchup." And at a certain point, that power's only at 80 so far.
I think he is.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
You want to bet it? Huh? All right. Well,
I already have a bet on this fight.
What a fucking Jesus Christ!
We have the same bet.
Oh my God! What an absolute pussy.
I mean, you really think you're cock of the walk today, don't you?
I'm about to throw the T-shirt back on. Look at it. Oh, I gotta sit.
That thing's never gonna get washed. It's gonna be 12 different colors and moldy. Did you wash it?
Fuck no, I didn't wash it. What do you think I'm gonna wash that thing? Every once in a while, I get back there and I sniff it. If I'm having a tough day. Today was literally the first day, and I think I texted you. Today was literally the first day where I was like, oh shit. Because Sunday, obviously, I'm waking up, I'm watching all the videos. It's like an incredible experience. Monday, I did the vlog. I stayed up and did the vlog. So literally Monday, I spent all day just watching the vlog over and over and over. That's why it's got 3,000 views right now. And then today, I woke up and I was like, man, Amanda really hasn't answered my DM. It's like, what's going on? Now she's on Instagram. It's like she doesn't even care about me. It's like, what if she actually only cared about my shirt and not me? Like, that could be a possibility now. Like, the only reason she got excited was because of the shirt and not because she saw me. So, like, those thoughts are going through my head. So now I'm just, like, sitting here like, oh, my God. So I'll get back there, curl up, and I'll just start sniffing it a little bit.
You're what's that dude from You, except you're bright orange and not well read. We do have a super chat from earlier from Quint Lazenby, up big from fantasy with help from We Want Picks Insight. Much love, boys. Like the stream. Gravely, lock of the week. Good weekend for you, Jacob ? Thank you very much, Quint, and thanks for the shout out with the fantasy stuff. A lot of people focus so much on our bets because those historically do very well. But the reality is there is an entire massive suite of tools and information for FanDuel and DraftKings on the website, including the DraftKings Optimizer, full FanDuel player slates, rankings. Like, there's so much stuff up there. So appreciate that shout out and that super chat.
You know what else I did today? Was
Yes.
put out because obviously she's not answering my DMs, my messages, my tweets, my pager messages. She still has a pager apparently. But I put an ad in Craigslist. I don't know if there is this Craigslist in Brazil or nothing, but like a misconnection thing. Like, hey, Amanda, this is me. I had your T-shirt. Misconnection. Here's my number. So we'll see what happens. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Honestly.
Congratulations.
I mean, I think we all felt that energy. You could sense the energy through the video.
Excited.
I'm pretty sure. That was
so.
a lot of energy. There was a lot of camera lenses getting foggy in that place in that moment. It was getting hot in there. It was getting hot in there. Oh shit.
Well, speaking of Quint's lock of the week, next up at UFC Vegas 71. Also, I don't know if it's UFC Vegas 71 or UFC Las Vegas because this is not at Apex.
Yeah, it's not at the Apex. Yeah, it's got a live crowd.
But it's still in Vegas, so why wouldn't it be? So it's not, you know what I mean? It's a tricky, people are using both hashtags. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have Victor Henry taking on Tony Gravely. Victor Henry is 22-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the loss to Raphael Assuncao. Tony Gravely, 23-8 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the decision loss to Javid Bajarat. We just watched his brother in a very close fight, actually, at UFC.
Was it? That was the only fight I didn't see.
It was dicey because he was the fourth leg. Not that it ended up mattering, but he was the fourth leg of the safety parlay. And Blackshear was super game. So that was actually an awesome fight to open up that card. Anyway,
well,
Victor Henry is an interesting guy to break down because he's got 2 UFC fights, and they couldn't be more different from each other. His first UFC fight, he was defending takedowns from a national champion, world-level wrestler. Boxing looked crisp, takedown defense looked good, and he got it done. He beat Hani Barcelos, who's one of the more underrated guys in the UFC. In his last fight, he was out-grappled by a 40-year-old jiu-jitsu guy. A 40-year-old jiu-jitsu guy was taking him down, beating him up, and sort of doing what he wanted to do. And that's what makes it so hard because he's fighting Tony Gravely. Tony Gravely has power in his hands, but the dude's a straight-up nonstop wrestler. He's very powerful. Everything he does has power in it, including his Mark Coleman-style ground and pound. He's got power in his hands, on his feet, but he is looking to wrestle. That's the only thing he wants to do is throw some bombs and then wrestle. And he can out-wrestle most people. He's got plenty of takedowns. His takedown average is absolutely insane. And it's just so tricky because Victor Henry, from his last fight, gets absolutely demolished by Tony Gravely. It's not even close. Victor Henry from the Hani Barcelos fight should be able to defend those takedowns and smack Tony Gravely around. It's a tough pick for that reason. I'm going to go Tony Gravely because I know what I'm going to get. I know what he is going to do, what he's going to try to do. He can miss the first 3 takedowns. He's still going to shoot 26 more unless he gets stopped for whatever reason. So Tony Gravely is going to be my pick because I know exactly what I'm going to get. And Victor Henry, we don't quite know yet, but there is a giant part of me that thinks that his last fight was the anomaly, right? His fight with Raphael Assuncao was not the normal Victor Henry, and he is going to defend the takedowns. His hands are going to look good, and everybody who jumped on Tony Gravely because it's plus money is going to look like an idiot. Therefore, no bet. No bet from me, just a pick. I can trust Tony, but I do have a feeling that Victor's going to get it done because we've seen him get it done against better wrestlers than Tony. What do you think?
Yeah, and I actually place bets for that very reason. I do think that it's a bounce back fight for Victor Henry. I'm not sure if it's going to matter, but I do think he comes in. It looks a little because he was basically just outworked that fight. I mean, he basically was outworked. And the bad thing is, if there's somebody that can outwork somebody, Tony Gravely is also a guy that can outwork you. So if Victor comes in, like you said, like his last fight, the exact same thing's going to happen. He's going to get taken down and he's going to get outworked on the ground. But Victor Henry, the way I see him winning is, obviously, you mentioned it. We know what Gravely is going to do. He's going to shoot takedowns. It's up to Victor Henry to defend those takedowns. If Victor Henry is going to win, I think he's defending the takedowns early. And Gravely, as you mentioned, will not stop. Even when he's tired, he's still shooting takedowns. He's trying to chain wrestle. That's all he wants to do is get you to the ground. And when he gets tired, he shoots more and more and more. So Victor Henry winning is defending the takedowns early. those takedowns now get a little bit more extended, a little bit more tiresome. And when Tony Gravely gets tired or when he gets hurt, that's when he's getting submitted on the ground because he's taking bad shots, he's leaving his neck open, scrambles happen, and then he's getting outworked because he's tired on the ground. So Victor Henry's got to get him tired. And then I think there's a second or third round submission for Victor Henry with a tired Tony Gravely. Unfortunately, I have to wait till Victor can prove that to me. So Tony Gravely, as you mentioned, is I think the better play because we know what he's going to do. Victor Henry was just outworked. So until he can prove that he's not going to get outworked, I got to pick the guy that will outwork him. So I'm going Tony Gravely, but I agree. I'm not putting money on him, even as a dog.
Yeah, and that's probably the warning. Everybody wants dog money. Everybody's looking for plus money. Like, everybody wants dog money,
Victor
and
Henry's
I get it.
The better fighter.
Correct. We just watched him shit the bed. And do you abandon ship when somebody shits the bed one time? Probably not, but we've only got two fights.
It depends on how expensive the sheets were. Right? I mean, if that's Egyptian cotton, if that's 10,000 thread count or whatever, and that's $400 or $500 for sheets, that's what I sleep on. No, I mean that's your one shot. You're done. You're out of here.
You know what
your
is
ass
brutal?
To go home.
You know what it is, dude. Sheets really are fucking expensive. Tiffany and I bought sheets.
It's worth it though. It's
worth
it.
I mean, you spending money on your.
I don't spend very much time in my bed, but it's usually mostly couch work.
Okay. I don't know why we were getting new sheets. I forget why. And we went to
because
Bed
somebody
Bath
shit
and
the
Beyond.
bed.
We went to Bed Bath and Beyond. We didn't even go to like some crazy place, and they were still like $400. It's like, this is outrageous. I mean, I sleep well, and then we moved, and the corner got ripped. So when they moved the mattress, they kept the sheets on the mattress, and they must have just shoved it in the truck with the bed frame. So the corner of the sheet is ripped. $400 sheets.
Wow.
I only got like 6 months.
It's crazy that they don't have an invention where you could like thread that shut. Imagine if we came up with some technology to where if there's a rip, you could use like, I don't know, like fucking string or some shit, and you just kind of like loop it in a bunch of times, and then that rip is just nice and tight, and then you don't have to get new sheets because it's on the corner anyway. Nobody sleeps on that. Imagine if there was such technology. Oh.
That would be nice, except it's like, it's a whole bunch. It's shredded.
Oh, okay. Now the story changes. Got it. No problem. Nope, we knew that was going to happen, so okay.
$8,400 for Victor Henry. You going to spend that money in DraftKings?
I can't really trust. If there's anything, I can't trust Victor for money like that. Tony, I think, because even if he's, in my mind, if he's getting finished, it's going to be late anyway, and he's probably not going to get finished because Victor Henry's not like a super finishing type of dude. So Tony could be, I mean, he could score.
Tony could score
50, 60 points in a loss.
Yeah. He could score 1 million. He could be the Derek Brunson of last week. Last week was a little different. I don't remember, but he got takedowns. He had a knockdown. Like, he scored well.
That was
what a sloppy Ian Gary show fight that.
The Ian Gary knockdown. I was literally just screaming, and it's still like pretty empty in there. Just survive, just screaming it. Holy shit.
Yeah, he almost ruined a lot of people's nights. Anyway, $7,800 for Tony Gravely I would take the shot on him in DraftKings before I spent actual money on him. You're saying you have bets on this fight though, not saying who you have bets on this fight for premium?
On the Victor side though.
Okay, thanks for saying what the bet was.
Oh, did you not want me? I don't know what's happening.
I didn't want you to. I'm trying to tease it to get people to pay. Absolute shit
I didn't say
show.
what the bet was.
Well, we know what side it's on.
Oh.
All right, leave it there.
Nobody's going to guess the bet. I mean, there's no way.
Anyway, if you want to unlock that bet and so much more, $10 a month. And speaking of, we have a $2.79 super chat from Wyatt Corm. Best premium membership in the game, 100% worth it. Thank you, Wyatt, for the super chat and the kind words. And I honestly agree with you. You cannot name another person or organization that has anything close to what we have. Literally nobody. And I can say that with 100% confidence. There were charts out there. We have charts now. There was an optimizer. We have an optimizer. There's bets. Our bets are better.
And there's no.
And it's only $10 a month. It's not $10 an event. It's $10. That dude that took everybody's money popped back up, and he's selling his bets for like $35 an event. after he took everybody's
Fuck
money.
that guy.
35 an event. The nerve. We're $10 a month. $4.99 super chat from Joe Todoro. Let's smash the like button. If you haven't become a member, it's the best membership you can have. Only $10 a month. Who beats that? The answer is no question. No one. Thank you very much, Joe. Very appreciated. No, don't do that. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have Ariane Lipski taking on JJ Aldrich. Ariane Lipski is a 14-8 overall, 2-3 in her last 5, coming off that KO loss to Priscilla Caceres. JJ Aldrich 11-5 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off the submission loss to Erin Blanchfield. JJ Aldrich, this line moved quite a bit, and I get it. Why are you sleeping? Are you sniffing an armpit? Okay.
Listen, if Amanda's going to leave me on red or not even read them, it's almost time to move on.
Did she leave you on red or unread?
She actually did reply to one of my stories. She with the I mean, it's honestly it's no big deal, but I'll show you the picture. On my story of me with meeting her. Where is this?
Hurry up! I gotta break down the deal.
Well, let's just. I honestly can't remember where it's at in my phone because it was like in the middle of the night. I screenshot it, and we know how those Vegas nights go. So, oh shit! Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
Okay, well, we'll find that later. Anyway, Ariane Lipski, I think I was doing
found it. There you go.
What face is that?
Huh? It's a hard eyes face. Stupid ass.
It's hard to tell. Tell that to the camera that's not focusing, you buffoon. Okay,
it's hard eyes. I promise it's hard eyes.
Yeah, okay. He swears to God. He swears to God.
It's like a pure vomit. It's the vomit. Shit. No, I promise. Hold on. Look, I'll zoom in. I'm zooming in. Hold on.
I promise.
Damn it. Why can't you see it?
It's still not focusing.
What? No, hold on. Hold on. Let me turn this down. Can you see it now? What the fuck is going on?
Sure.
Hold on.
No,
maybe if I turn it up.
We believe you.
No. Come on.
You
can see it's a smiley. Oh, you can see it. Do you see it?
I can't.
Wait.
Sure. No, that's definitely hard eyes.
Ah!
There it is. All right. We got it.
Hold on. Let me. How do I? This is like fucking.
Oh. Okay, we got it. There it is. We got it. I got to start this whole thing over. We've lost so much time. I got to start this whole thing over. Another super chat from Joe Todoro. It's going to be a
fucking disaster.
$4.99. Jacob, you sound like one of the older ghosts from a Christmas Carol movie from 1951 saying
I was saying Joey D.
Oh, you're going Joey.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Got it. I'm going to start this over because we chop these videos up and I can't use half that crap. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have Ariane Lipski taking on JJ Aldrich. Ariane Lipski 14-8 overall, 2-3 in her last 5, coming off that KO loss to Priscilla Caceres. JJ Aldrich 11-5 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off that submission loss to Erin Blanchfield, where she did defend every single takedown attempt, which is holding up quite nicely. I like the line movement here. -145 open for JJ Aldrich. She's sitting at -360 now, and that makes a whole lot of sense. She's the much better fighter. She should absolutely win this fight. JJ Aldrich, she's a grinder. Decent striking, decent takedowns, very good top pressure. And I like that she doesn't take any risks. She knows what she's good at. She sticks to it. She's not the most exciting person in the world, but she'll come forward. She'll strike. She'll work takedowns. She'll hang out on top. She's constantly squeaking out these decisions, but she's very reliable. You know what you're going to get. She's not going to, very infrequently is she going to get blown out. And it's only by people who are very, very, very good. She'll be in there. She'll fight for your money. She's faking on Ariane Lipski. Do something with your light.
It's just because I switched browsers. Come on.
Okay, well, figure it out. Ariane Lipski is actually a decent striker. She's got some decent grappling as well. The problem with her grappling is if she's not the one getting the takedown and ending up on top, she's got nothing to offer. She can't do anything off her back. She struggles down there, and then she ends up getting finished. She was coming off that first round KO loss to Priscilla Caceres, which that was actually her first ever UFC loss where she wasn't taken down because historically, it's like she's a very good striker. Just take her down, you could beat her. And that's what everybody was doing until Silva just blasted her and was like, nah, I don't care anymore. I like JJ Aldrich here. I'm very, very, very confident in JJ Aldrich, actually. I bet 1.5 units at minus 220. So this line has moved quite a bit. I immediately had a little bit of regret just because I'm like, Ariane Lipski is a technical striker. But I just trust JJ. She'll just come in. Even if she's losing the striking, she should be able to crowd, get the takedowns, bully. So I like JJ Aldrich. She's definitely the pick. I have a 1.5 unit money line bet on her at minus 220. Premium members, you have seen that for about a week. Hopefully, if you like that bet, you jumped on it at the minus 220 because she's becoming less and less affordable every single day. What do you think, Jackie boy?
Yeah, if I didn't see that fight of JJ and Aaron, I might be a little bit higher on Ariane in this matchup because I think that she is the better striker. I think she's a pretty underrated striker because she really hasn't been able to show it off too much in the UFC, as you mentioned, because of some of the fight that she's been having. And she's fighting for UFC life at this point. And weird stuff happens in women's MMA. I mean, we saw it last week with Grasso. I mean, she's getting, I don't want to say dominated, but she was definitely getting beat in that fight. Some weird thing happens. There's a little bit of a spin. All of a sudden her back is taken. She's choked out. Weird things happen in MMA. And I think that Ariane is the better striker in this matchup. But there's just such a glaring hole in the grappling of Ariane Lipski that the path to victory is just so obvious for JJ. I think that's why the odds are moving as wide as they are. It's just so glaringly obvious. And my point was being that if I didn't see JJ taking down Erin Blanchard, I'd be like, maybe that, because she does wrestle, but she's mostly just kind of a methodical striker. But being able to take down Erin and going to that grappling in that fight, it's like, okay, now hopefully she translates that, brings in this fight, just gets the early takedown. Ariane off her back is just flat on her back. We'll try to work some, but she's not, like a super dangerous guard, and JJ's seen that stuff before. So the holes is just too glaring for Ariane to be on her side, and JJ's obvious pick. I wish I would have got the line earlier. I don't think it's safe enough because JJ's not dangerous enough.
Yeah, now she's minus 400, which is a whole different game.
And JJ's just not dangerous enough for that money because it's probably going to be decision fight. Anything's happening in women's MMA, so I'm not paying it now. I wish I would have played it earlier, but she should be the pick in this matchup.
Yeah, I think she's old reliable. Like, she's not old. She's only 30, but she's very reliable. She was beating
the shit out of Blanchfield.
She got 2 of her own takedowns and defended 4, and then ultimately was
Blanchfield sucks.
She's ended up being champ, honestly.
She's just beating up on cans. JJ was the first decent fighter she fought, and she looked like she was clueless.
Smoked Jessica Andrade, who's like one of the more accomplished women in both
her
divisions.
Tit fell out.
Okay.
Well, one of yours fell out. How many times did that happen with your singlets?
I've never had a boobie pop out on the side. Those were heavyweights. I wasn't a heavyweight just yet. That was always gross. Just some sloppy heavyweight. Just flop out the side.
You were looking.
Rub it up against it. I did have to wrestle a girl once. So I wrestled 215.
How do we transition to this? Because
boobies and singlets. I wrestled 215. There's not a world where I should be wrestling a girl. But I was in the finals. I was in this Keene, New Hampshire. We were in a tournament. And I was in the semifinals. And so was this girl. And so I'm wrestling. None of my
Was there a loser's bracket?
This was the winner's bracket.
I know, but was there a loser's bracket? I'm curious that if you would have seen her lose, if you would have lost on purpose, just so you could wrestle.
Just say beat on a girl.
Oh, she lost. Oh, pin me.
Well, so we're in the semifinals. This was a full 16-man bracket tournament. So to get to the semis, you're pretty good. You won a couple of matches. And some weight classes had rat tails just to get in. Anyway, I'm in the semis. She's in the semis. 2 different mats in the gym. Only 2 mats in the gym. And my whole team is on her mat rooting for her because they were like, yes, please, God, let her win and beat Angelo. And so I won my match, and I was like nervous as hell because I'm like, oh my God, if she wins.
What if I get a boner?
If she wins, she's obviously good. And we're in New Hampshire, and everybody always said, New Hampshire where men are men and so are the women. So I was like, oh boy, I was a nervous wreck. Luckily, it didn't happen. So to this day,
you didn't wrestle her?
No, I still haven't touched a breast. Anyway, Ariane Lipski, $6,800. JJ Aldrich, $94. Man, I got to look at how JJ scores in her DraftKings before I make a decision here because she should win. She should win with takedowns and control time, but $9,400.
The takedowns is going to be one a round. I mean, if she takes her, I don't think Ariane Lipski's getting back to her feet if she's getting taken down. So you're getting one around. She's not, and JJ's not a super dangerous person. I actually think that if I was going to play this, I wouldn't play the money line. I'd try to get a little bit more specific, maybe a submission or something like that, because I think Ariane is just going to gas, being on her back that whole time. You saw in the last 2 times she got out wrestled. I mean, she got finished as well. I think JJ's more of she didn't have any submissions, but it feels like she might be more submission in this fight. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. I just kept going. I don't know what's going on. We were talking about DraftKings. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, just three takedowns
You're a
around.
Mess, dude.
Three
You're
takedowns around. Doesn't
mess.
really score too much unless she gets the finish, but 94 is pretty rich.
Also, what was that weird squeak at the end of your laugh?
I giggle sometimes. Like in that video with Amanda, she was like, "Oh, it's me," and I was like, I literally in that moment, that was the most genuine. When I turned around and went like this, that was like the most genuine. Like, oh my god, I fucking did it.
Yeah, I mean, you really
all the doubters.
You're changing for the worst. It really was a perfect, because you're such a dork and you're so thirsty.
And the best part was
the cancer was so aggressive.
Well, the best part was I didn't even know where my seats were, so I didn't even know. It's not like I went there knowing this was possible. I didn't know until like in that moment I was like, "Oh, I can go down there. I'm going down there." And last week on the podcast, that was the joke. Somebody donated and was like, "Do you think Jacob, if given the opportunity, will he say?"
Yeah.
Like, no. And everyone's like, "No." So then that actually did cross my mind a little bit when I was like deciding to go down. I was like, "Fuck those guys. I'm going down there."
Fuck the random people in the live chat. Anyway, yeah, I think JJ Aldrich is a little bit too rich in DraftKings. I'm loving my 220 money line bet. Guys, become a premium member. It's $10 a month. Literally just $10 a month. If you only bet $10 a fight, which is perfectly fine, right? If $10 is a unit for you, you're going to get that back, not even just with the units that we give you in bets. You're going to get it with the DraftKings optimizer, everything else, and the line movement alone. I put that JJ Aldrich bet on the board over a week ago. It was in the Discord, on the website. You got the alert on your phone, and if you tailed it then, I don't recommend tailing bets. But if you saw it, hey, that is a good bet. Let me hop on this too. If you did that, then you got her at minus 220. She's going to close at minus 400 or worse on a card where there's not very many people you can trust. That closing line value alone is worth that $10. WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. And hey, if you just like Jacob's Giggle, membership's $10. Just a nice way to show support.
Daddy Joe. I did yell all sorts of wild stuff during the prelim stuff because I was pretty under the influence, I would say. And there were some people in Discord that said they heard me a few times because I was like putting Discord, I'm yelling this, and then I'd yell it. Oh, shit. What a disaster. This podcast sucks.
It's not great.
Mario wins. We can make up some time here.
Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we got Mario Bautista taking on Guido Cannetti. Mario Bautista 11-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak. He's taking on Guido Cannetti 10-6 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is coming off that submission win over Randy Costa. People got mad at me in my quick picks when I said Guido sort of like literally fell into that Randy Costa submission. Like he lucked out with that submission. People got like pissed at me. Like he took Randy down.
I'm not going to disparage
worked for
or let you disparage a former lock of the week. So
Guido Cannetti, Chris Motino.
That was the easy. Literally, I think that literally was the easiest lock of the week of all time. I'm like, holy shit, how is Chris Motino after that performance against Sugar? How is he the favorite? I don't care who he's fighting. I should have been the favorite versus him in that. Holy shit.
He got hit 297 times and didn't fall down until the 300th, and they're like, this guy's good. This guy's good. Jesus. Anyway, Mario Bautista's, he's high volume. He's a bit of a brawler. Give one to take one. Take one to give one style. He does set a pace. He's always coming forward. He is light on his feet. And he's just making things happen. He's also evolving. He's got 7 takedowns in his last 3 fights, which are sort of a new wrinkle. And he's coming off a submission win over Benito Lopez, where he hit him hard. He had clean takedowns. He just dominated that fight. Guido Cannetti, we just mentioned, has some life blasted into. He's 43. Dude, 43 years old at this weight class as a striker. That is shocking.
And he doesn't really look worn. I mean, he doesn't look worn down. I mean, when he gets there, and he gets there.
Not only that, he's been competing in combat sports literally his entire life. Since he was a child, he's been competing in combat sports. So you'd think he was more used up than he is. But he...
him and me both.
I heard it the first time, and I just kept moving because I'm like, okay.
No, but then you said he's more used up. Him and me both. That's why I said it again.
Oh,
see how it just goes over your head? See how the comedy level intelligence?
You're definitely much smarter than I am.
Huh? Clip it and ship it, guys.
And I appreciate
clip
everything
that.
you do.
Someone go ahead and someone clip that if you don't mind.
And I appreciate everything
on Twitter,
you
please.
do to make all of this work with that big old brain of yours. Like when you were negotiating for a raise like an idiot. Literally screwing yourself. I had to protect you from yourself in that. Okay, stop with the sex noises.
Well, I like when you talk about me.
Jesus Christ. This podcast does.
Has everyone left? Is it just us? Let me tell you.
It's just us.
Yeah, pretty much.
We may not have even clicked live at this point. Anyway, Guido Cannetti, he had found himself into a 2-fight win streak, but he beat Chris Motino and Randy Koza. Randy Koza is actually solid, but that submission, he just sort of flopped himself into it. Mario Bautista is a minus 950 favorite. This should be a Bo Nickel line. Like, he should blow through Guido Cannetti. He can out-grapple him. He may not technical outstrike him because Guido Cannetti is actually a very technical striker, but he can certainly come in, hit hard, blast up his legs, take him down, do what he wants to do. Mario Bautista is absolutely the pick. You hate to see lines take off like this. Like, it was just minus 600 the other day. Just a few days ago, it was minus 600 when I put together the well, I'm not going to say, but when I put some stuff together just a few days ago, he was still affordable, and now that's starting to move a little bit. What do you think, Jacob Boy? Obviously, you think Mario wins, but do you think there's any shot Guido wins?
Spoilers, huh? Jesus, oh my God!
You started it off that way.
Yeah, I do think Mario wins. But here's my advice to Mario: is wrestle. I would shoot a takedown. I mean, not force a takedown, but shoot a takedown and get this fight to the ground as fast as you can, because Guido Cannetti is not a guy that messes around. I mean, this guy gets in there and throws with absolute heat and is looking for a finish inside of 30 seconds of every single fight. He's almost like the Raphael Alves of the bantamweight division, the way that he gets there and throws bombs. And Mario Bautista, you don't want to mess around with that. He is the much better, I mean, he literally is a better striker, but sometimes that doesn't matter when people are throwing the way that Guido Cannetti throws in those first rounds. So get the early takedown, do your ground and pound, do what you got to do on the ground there. If anything, that'll wear him out, and the power won't quite be there if you want to strike later. But I would get this fight to the ground as quick as possible. That's what Guido should do. I mean, that's what Mario should do, and he should dominate this matchup. But, you know, if he tries to start brawling with Guido, weirder things have happened.
I hear you. Almost as weird as this dude not understanding a single thing that we said before. Sorry, Christ. You misunderstood.
Stupid fuck. Is he talking about when I said he was my lock of the week previously?
Yeah, listen, you can't. Sucks to suck, Jacob. Mario Bautista $9,700, which is crazy. Bo Nickel was 96. Mario Bautista's
Bo Nickel
97.
only got that takedown because he kneed him in the nuts. You see that?
Dude, the people.
I saw the video today. I was like, oh shit! Because did you see the video?
No.
Jamie Pickett literally goes, oh, and then whoa, and then he gets tossed down to the ground. Literally, because he's like boom, like strong with the position, gets kneed and just folds. And as he's folding, that's when Bo flips around and takes him down. It was actually like, even because because then he got back to his feet and he was like, like trying to grab his nuts. It was not good. It was not a good look.
It was inevitable.
Yeah, it probably was, but Jamie was defending pretty well.
Well, anyway, $9,700 for Mario Bautista. Bo Nickel was $9,600, and Bo Nickel was a 2,000 favorite that was a minus whatever to win under 1.5. Mario Bautista is a $9,700 fighter, one of the most expensive ones we have ever seen. I think he's probably still worth it because I think he'll win. I think he's the perfect combination.
Especially on this card, yeah.
There's not a lot of people you can truly trust on this card, and I think he's gonna absolutely beat the piss out of Guido for a little while and then finish him. Meaning the Bo Nickel thing, the reason we were like, Bo Nickel's going to be tricky because if he gets a takedown and doesn't do much, like Bo Nickel scored well, but he was not the highest scorer on that card at 285. Mario Bautista may be the highest scorer on this card because he can get some takedowns, drop him, beat him up. And then, no, who was that new guy with 29 takedowns.
Oh.
That was the first card. Rivovic and Babak. That was the first fight of the night. That was the highest score on the entire card, 9,000 points. Anyway, you literally did. Who were your words.
Don't remember.
That's very different than didn't.
I know my truth.
Mario Bautista, probably worth it for your DraftKings. You can have him in there.
Yeah, I don't know why we're still in this fight.
Probably because we got sidetracked 11 times with all the random crap that you do.
Not me.
Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Sedriques, or SD Dumas, taking on Josh Fremd. Sedriques Dumas is 7-0. He's undefeated in his career. He's making his official UFC debut after a successful Contender Series win. Josh Fremd's 9-4 overall. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off 2 losses in a row, and he's looking for his first UFC win. And Sedriques Dumas, he's a street fighter, like a pretty famous one, I guess. I didn't know about him, but did my research.
I think
found
he was like one of the most notorious Miami street fighters, I think, is how he's described.
So he's a pretty popular street fighter. George Masvidal worked his way through the same sort of path, but he's different. Sedriques is technical. He's like, he knows what he's doing. Like, you picture street fight. No, Sedriques has nice, clean, solid kickboxing where he uses technique. He has nice, clean takedowns. Like, he's actually a very good fighter that is composed and put together and does what he's supposed to do. He's very athletic. He's fun, and he's definitely somebody to watch this year. And the UFC, I think they did this matchup to get him a solid win. But it may not necessarily go that way because Josh Fremd is a very athletic guy. He's got some sneaky power in his punches. He can grapple as well. When he initiates the grappling exchanges, he does really, really well. He's got cardio. He's got athleticism. And he is 0-2 in the UFC, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's just a bust. I think he's a guy that's improving quickly. You're leaning back. You're making the faces here. Dude, shut up. But both of his 2 UFC losses were wrestle heavy. He was getting out wrestled in both of those. I think he could spoil the UFC's plans, but I don't see it that way. I think Sedriques wins. I have a bet on him. I got him at -130, which I don't know how I got him on Bet Online at -130 when they're saying the line opened at -150, but I can go ahead and put the ticket in the Discord if you don't believe me. But I did get him at -130.
I got him at -142.
Okay. So the opening line of -150 is just wrong, and we get that from Bet Online or from Best Fight Odds. Anyway, I got him at -130. I only did a half a unit. He's still a UFC debut. I may end up regretting that. I've seen a lot of people on this, and that's what happens when a lot of people like somebody, and sometimes these things don't work out well. Because Josh Fremd, you're making faces, you're rolling in your chair. The dude's an athletic guy with cardio, and he's somewhat talented. He's not a bum, and I wouldn't even say he's a busted prospect. I think he could actually do something, and that's the only reason I did a half a unit. I think I like Sedriques here, but Josh Fremd's the one with the UFC experience. He's got more professional fights, and he's athletic, in shape, can push a pace. It's not outrageous that he wins this fight. What is that stupid face that you have, and what do you think?
I think it is kind of outrageous. He's going to win this fight because you say athletic. I disagree. I don't think he's a UFC caliber guy. And that's no disrespect to him. I just think that some people just aren't UFC caliber guys, and he seems like one of them to me, especially in this matchup against the athleticism of Dumas. Fremd will always beat people that he can out wrestle, right? That's going to be his path to victory because the striking is slow. It seems telegraphed, a little loopy. He's definitely not going to be the better striker in this matchup, so he needs to win fights where he can out wrestle people. And Dumas, as good a striker as he is, this guy's a pretty good scrambler on the ground. He is very good good in scrambles. And he had a quote that I saw that he basically said, listen, if I get taken down, I'm on my back. I might not get up right away, but I promise you I will always get back to my feet. And he really shows that in grappling exchanges. He's always working to try and sweep the position. He is never just flat on his back. And when he sweeps and he gets on top of people, he is a threat with submissions or TKOs as well. So I know that Fremd, can wrestle a little bit. I don't think he can even out-wrestle this guy. And if he can't out-wrestle him, he is going to get destroyed on the feet by SD Dumas because he is absolutely no joke. So I have the money line bet as well. And I feel pretty good about it. I think this is one of the better values on the card. I know it's moved. I mean, me and you got better odds than what people can get right now, minus 180 or whatever. But I still think that he is just next level and a real UFC talent. And I disagree with Fremd.
Everybody is going crazy over this takedown line. There's about 27 comments. This is the way that the takedown numbers
work. They extrapolated it over.
It's takedown average over 15 minutes. When I say it, I say per fight because it's these guys are fighting 15 minutes. His Dana White Contender Series fight, which is only one fight in the UFC where the data was taken, he had a takedown and a submission in under 1 minute. So they extrapolate that out and they say over a 15-minute period, he averages 19.15. That's why that is the takedown line here. Obviously, when we get to Merab and we see Merab's takedown line, that's far more accurate because he has a much larger sample size. So don't go bananas over, takedown line, all 29 of you that did the exact same thing.
Wow.
$8,800 in DraftKings you spending the money on Sedriques Dumas?
I think that the money lines that me and you got and that $8,800 could have been the best value on that. Just like we said last week, and I mentioned a few times, the Tabitha Ricci bets we placed, that 3.5, I said was probably going to be the best value on that card. We got minus 3.5 on Tabitha Ricci for like, what was it, plus 160 or something like that. I mean, it was absolutely absurd that we got plus money on that bet. And I think the bets we have and that $8,800 is going to be the same type of thing.
It could be. I like him. I bet on him. I like him to win. I'm a little weary of full-blown UFC debuts like this. And maybe I have a little more respect for Josh Fremd than you do. Well, I do. I know I do. So that's why I only did a half a unit instead of more. But, I think $8,800 in DraftKings is probably solid. We didn't hit the 9,000 mark. He is a guy that can finish. He is a guy that can strike, grapple. He can do all the things. So he's probably worth that $8,800. And it's funny, when I was doing the graphics and all this, I'm 2 weeks ahead, especially this weekend. I'm going to be in Florida, so I already have 286 done. And I have a bunch of 286 bets, including the safety parlay, up now. So premium members, check those out now.
I have a parlay for 286 too. And I have another bet
both
286.
Both of us have a bunch of UFC 286 stuff up there now, which is next weekend. If you're not a premium member, we just talked about line movement in these last two fights that Jacob and I both got ahead of. I'm expecting the same with the 286 stuff because even though these lines have been up for a little while, there's instant line movement where as soon as a line goes up, it immediately flies. And these are by people that spend a ton of money on tools and information and stuff like that to alert them. Those are sharps. They're going to hit it instantly. Then it'll level off. And then once the other people start hitting it, then it starts to move again. We're there. We're not paying tens of thousands of dollars for tools to hit it instantly, but we are right after that immediate spike. And that's why we're getting ahead of some of this line movement. And we're not always on the right side of it. Sometimes we're on the wrong side of it. But anyway, we got a bunch of UFC 286 stuff going. This Dumas line, the Aldrich line, a lot of these have moved since we've placed our bets. So check that out for only $10 at premium. But when I was doing this breakdown, this is what started this. I'm 2 weeks ahead. And Dumas, remember that old commercial? The guy's doing an interview. He's like, okay, Mr. Dumbass. And then he's like, it's Dumas. You don't remember that commercial?
No.
You're just being you. Other people will comment that they remember that commercial. I just ask that, you grow into whatever your normal personality is going to be and just stay there. Because I'm kind of over this one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yep. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Raphael Assuncao taking on Davey Grant. Raphael Assuncao, 27-9 overall, 1-4 in his last 5. He's coming off that win over Victor Henry. Davey Grant, 12-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the KO win over Luis Smolka. And this is an interesting fight to break down. This is this week's Derek Brunson and Duplessis fight, where people are split. People are very, very split on this fight. Raphael Assuncao is 40 years old. He's a straight-up tried and true vet. This dude has been fighting for 20 years. And you see the 1-4, but the reality is he has only lost to some of the best people. His last 4 losses were Ricky Simone, Cody Garbrandt, Corey Sandhagen, and Marlon Moraes. And this is over the course of like 4 or 5 years. When
one of those guys is in the PFL.
This is the course over 4 or 5 years. Well, there was Marlon Moraes when Marlon Moraes was still good. But anyway, he's only lost to very good people. He has wins over very good people as well. And I think a lot of us a lot of people are focusing on that aspect of it, which is nice, right? You're not just looking at the 1 and then the 4 and then being like, this guy sucks. But he's fighting Davey Grant. And Davey Grant is another interesting guy. People in the comments talking about, he owns a restaurant. He's not even a full-time fighter. He cares about his restaurant more than fighting. How can you pick the guy? The arguments I've seen over this fight are very, very interesting. So Raphael Assuncao, he's been fighting forever. Still in shape, can still push a pace. He's got some decent striking. For the most part, he wants to grapple, wrestle, get it to the ground. That's exactly what he just did to Victor Henry, who's supposed to be this stud. Davey Grant, as of late, he's been a busy striker. He's got nice kicks, good range, solid punches for damage, and he has some real power in there. But a lot of people forget that he started his career as a grappler. And as a whole, Davey Grant's a pretty experienced grappler who's gotten comfortable with his hands and then developed power. He has 10 fights in the UFC. He also has some solid fight IQ, some solid experience. I think Davey Grant is going to win. I don't think it's the most confident thing in the world. I don't have him as a parlay piece or anything like that. I did say in my quick picks video, I was like, the more I'm looking at this, the more confident I'm getting in Davey Grant. And I just feel like this line is going to take off, meaning for Davey. But I was dead wrong. It's going the other way. The line is tightening. Money's coming in on a Assuncao instead of Davey Grant. I thought Davey Grant was going to close at like a -2 something, -300 favorite. Because people are going to be like, this dude's 40, has 1 win in 4 years. Davey Grant isn't the best, but he comes out swinging. He's got power. He can wrestle. He'll be fine. But that's not what people are doing. What do you think, Jakey boy?
The second I saw those odds, I put Davey Grant in a parlay because I think he smokes Assuncao. I just don't feel like the victory over Victor Henry can translate to this fight. He can't copy and paste that same game plan and use that against Davey Grant because you can't outwork Davey Grant. That guy is constantly doing stuff. He's throwing wild. I think he's going to have the striking advantage. Obviously, if he throws heavy and Assuncao, I keep adding syllables, I think, but Raphael can counter. Obviously, something can happen because Davey Grant has been cracked. Even though he's a tough guy, he can work through stuff like that. I think it comes down to people are just seeing all the submission wins for Assuncao and the submission losses on the side of Davey Grant, and they think, okay, we've got this submission guy. This guy gets submitted. Let's make this fight a little bit closer. Where the reality is, I don't think Raphael is going to be able to get in those positions to even come close to Davey Grant because, as you mentioned, he started as a grappler, and I think he can just out-scramble out of those positions, and he's a much better striker in my mind of the two. And I just can't trust all those losses. I know he beat Victor Henry, but I just don't think you can translate that game plan. And I think Davey Grant comes in and pressures him and smokes the old man, unfortunately.
He could. I'm not confident enough to bet on a side here, but I don't think I would be surprised by anything. If Raphael Assuncao came in here and got the takedowns and beat up Davey Grant, I would not be that surprised. It'd be like, I
would.
I wouldn't. And if Davey Grant smoked Assuncao, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. Like, dude's 40. Like, this is not a forgiving sport. So, but I'm not going to die on either hill. So people freaking out crack me up. $7,700 in DraftKings. If you're on the Raphael Assuncao side and you think he's going to get those takedowns, you think he's going to make something happen. That's not the worst value. But if you're Jacob and you're all over the Davey Grant side, $8,500 may be able to get that done and could be worth it. Like $8,500 is not a ton of money, especially if you think he gets a finish. So how do you think it goes? You think Davey Grant's going to wrestle or strike?
I think he's going to strike. I think he's going to have success striking, and Raphael's not super dangerous. And I think Raphael's start shooting some desperate takedowns, and Davey Grant might be able to do something in a scramble or just kind of wear him down. I can see him finish him.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tricky. I'm surprised the line is tightening. I thought it would widen with people looking at Grant. The restaurant thing is funny too. He owns a restaurant.
I think it is a little bit short notice for him, but he seems like a guy that just fights the way he fights, and he can do that forever, type of thing,
Yeah, Cameron was short notice. He got it done. Guys, become a premium member. Unlock all of our bets, including the, I don't know how many units, the many units we have going for UFC 286, which is next week. And UFC 286 is not as obvious of a card as UFC 285 was. So,
except for the main event.
If you want to unlock, Jacob has a wild bet for the main event that I put up there for premium members with the caveat of you don't need to follow. But anyway, UFC 286 bets are up. All of these bets are up. The DraftKings Optimizer, fantasy stuff, and the 38 columns of detailed statistics for every single event are all available to you at only $10 a month at weonpicks.com. Sign up, become a member, and unlock all of it. And we got a member just a few minutes ago, Jerome. Thank you very much. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have Karl Williams taking on Lukasz Brzeski. Jacob and I are definitely split on this fight. Karl Williams is 7-1 overall.
No.
4-1 in his last 5.
Are you serious?
4-1. Oh, I'm serious. 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 4-fight win streak. Lukasz Brzeski is 2-1 in his last 5. But he's basically 4-0 if you remove a bad decision, his last fight, and a hot piss test. That's why he's not 4-0. He should be 4-0-1 in his last 5. Anyway, Lukasz Brzeski, he's a well-rounded guy. He's got solid power, solid speed, decent takedowns, good leg kicks. He's athletic. He has no problem spinning around and getting stuff done. And he's pretty good everywhere. He's coming off that decision loss to Martin Boudet, where most reasonable people felt that was a win. He more than doubled his strikes, and there was no meaningful amount of grappling to negate that. Lukasz Brzeski got robbed in that fight, and then the overturned fight before that, he pissed hot. Dude does drugs. Karl Williams, making his UFC debut. He's a powerful striker. He's always looking to just send that right hand. It is just like cocked and ready to go. He sends everything with power. It can be telegraphed, but it's not looping, which is interesting. So he's not like throwing it from over here, but he does pull it back a little bit before sending it, so you can see that coming. What I do like, and if you watch his tape, you'll see this, it happens more than once. He's had a few people on the ropes, and he comes in, he tries to finish, he realizes, I'm not going to finish this guy right now. He will back up, stop, reset, and then just continue to work instead of getting overly aggressive and going crazy and chasing. And that shows, for only having 8 fights, that shows some real just, I don't know, veteran patience there. What?
I didn't even say it. I literally was going to say a joke, and then I bit my tongue. I didn't say it because I was like, oh, Angel's not going to like this one about blowing your load early. Like, it's not, you shouldn't. I couldn't think of how I wanted to word it, so then I didn't say it. But because you said, like, I had him against the fence, but he backed off. It's like, it's important not to blow your load early,
This is why we're going to get kicked off all of the platforms.
I mean, they don't even know what that is, really.
We're going to be TVMA, Jacob. And why are you playing with like a penny?
Huh? It's a nail.
Why? Why is it bent? Where did it come from?
I poke it through this, and I just sit here and I just... That's what I do. Look, I can push it through this side, and then I push it through this side, and then the plastic goes back and forth. It's like a fidget spinner.
I was going to say, I think I pay you enough to buy a fidget spinner.
No, I take my thumb like this, and I push it through, and then I take it to the other side like this. I put it in there and I push it through. When I'm talking, that's what I do with my hands. Look, I just like on this side of my neck, I just push it through back and forth.
Awesome.
It's fun.
Anyway,
I mean, it keeps
Karl
me focused.
Williams.
How do you think I'm able to do what I am able to do? It's because of this right here. This is the trick, guys. If you want to be one of the most entertaining people on the fucking internet, that's all it takes right there. Keeps you focused.
Yeah, you're very focused. You're always laser focused. Anyway, I do think this fight's a bit of a tough call. This was a line flip fight. Karl Williams open as the underdog. He's now a good size favorite. The line took off. I agree with the opening odds. I think Lukasz Brzeski gets it done. I think he's the better overall fight. The way that he reacts to punches worries me a little bit because he doesn't like solid striking pressure. And Karl Williams has some very real power, but we just watched Lukasz dominate Martin Bidet. If you go back, you watch him dominate Dylan Potter with grappling. I think he has more ways to win. Karl Williams has smoked a whole bunch of regional talent, including a dude who was just absolutely enormous, sloppy fat. And that fight went a little longer than it should have. I like Lukasz Brzeski here. I am avoiding bets because I already bet on JJ Aldrich. That broke one rule. I'm not trying to break two rules in the same card. But I do think Lukasz Brzeski, I think he's just a better overall fighter here, and I think he can win. And he got robbed in his last fight. The other overturned one is a hot piss test. You take those away, and the dude all of a sudden is 10-0. Those are my thoughts. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. Where did Bo Nickel go to college?
Is this a setup? Penn State.
Penn State. Okay, yeah, because Karl Williams just beat a guy that was a Penn State wrestler, and how did he beat him? He out-wrestled the fuck out of that guy. I mean, he completely embarrassed that guy. I actually lost a lot of money because Joey T was like, oh, this guy's a Penn State wrestler. You should bet on him. He's definitely going to dominate this fight. And he got absolutely, double leg, picking him up, slamming him down, completely out-wrestled him. Got a little bit tired in the third round and started getting out-wrestled himself finally. That guy turned it around. But those early takedowns were so explosive against a guy that knew absolutely what he was doing in those situations, and that is just going to spell very, very big issues for Lukasz in this matchup. I think he's getting taken down. I think he's getting slammed down, and Karl Williams is a big dude that is looking to finish people at any moment. As you mentioned, on the feet with that big right hand. I mean, he is a finisher in there. He could end up getting tired, and that's what worries me if he can't get the finish, but I think he absolutely comes through, picks this dude up, slams him on his head, and finds the TKO early. So I'm very high on Karl in this matchup.
Listen, I get it. That's why I have no money on this fight. I fully recognize Karl Williams is a talented guy. We've seen him beat up a whole bunch of people. I don't know. I just feel like Lukasz Brzeski has more ways to win. I think he's had a little streak of unfortunate luck. And he's the pick, but no bet. I'm not willing to risk my money on this fight.
I've got money on Mr. Karl, tell you that. But I do worry about the gas tank. I mean, so I'm not fully on. Obviously, I have money on because I think he can't get it done. But there is a world where he out wrestles on for a round and a half, kind of starts fading, and then anything could happen when people get tired, especially at this weight class. Sometimes people just kind of fold. He didn't show that in his last fight when he was tired, but weirder things have happened for sure. So, but I like Karl.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. So far, Lukasz Brzeski has high volume striking, good takedown defense, good takedown offense. He's shown us all the tools, so I went that route, but I'm not going to fight you on it. This is not you want to bet $100? This is not one of those spots.
You want to bet $100?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You spending $9,000 in DraftKings? Like, you think this is just an absolute drubbing?
I think that he's able to get the takedowns, and once he's on the ground, I don't think Lukasz has much to offer. That guy used to be ripped, by the way. Have you seen the picture? I'm sure you saw it, like a Sherdog picture and stuff. It looks like he was like a 185er, and now he's like a heavyweight. So that's interesting as well.
You talking about Lukasz?
Yeah.
Well, he was on steroids.
Well,
they literally overturned one of his wins because of it.
People always ask me if I'm on steroids.
No, they say you need human growth hormones for your legs.
No, it's not what that girl said the other day at the gym.
She said, "I'm sorry about your legs."
No, that's not what she said. That's not what she felt either. She was feeling the front and the back.
Of your legs? Yeah, because with one pinch, you get all of it.
It's about like that, I would say. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, maybe
I was going to say you that even.
I looked at it and I was like, wait a second. I mean, on camera, I have big hands, so.
No, you don't.
I do.
You have a full-size Coke can?
I do.
You're not pulling out a small one again.
Huh?
Let's see.
Let's see,
full size.
All right, let me get a good grip on it so you can see it.
The fucking noises, dude.
Disappears.
Another fucking small one.
Disappears.
Why are you buying? You're a grown man
Completely
who lives
disappears.
alone.
Andre,
very, very
the
alone.
fucking giant. Look at this thing.
Why are you buying the small? Huh? I get embarrassed for you sometimes.
Look at this.
Okay, stop. The motion.
Huh? No, I'm showing you how it's like strong in my hand. I can't, you know.
Okay,
See?
please. Okay. Congratulations on the small Coke can. And you buy the bite-sized candy. None of it makes any sense unless you're luring children back.
I could go to my freezer right now and I literally have bite-sized candy. Just if I fucking Twix, Reese's Pieces, Reese cups, and Hershey bars. The little fun size in my freezer right now.
So weird, dude.
Oh,
it's so weird.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, you're gonna spend the $9,000 on Karl Williams at DraftKings?
Yeah.
All right. Listen, if you are on the Jacob side and you think Karl Williams does whatever he wants to do anywhere, then yeah, he's worth $9,000. I like Lukasz to get it done. I don't trust him enough to spend money in real life or any of that, but I do think he has more ways to win. I don't know what I'll do with DraftKings with him. That is a very, very appealing price. A very appealing price. But these are heavyweights, and that does get a little risky, so we'll see what happens. WeOwnPicks.com if you want to unlock Jacob's bets. I don't have any bets on this fight. If you want to unlock Jacob's bets for this fight.
Oh, I'm loaded on that one.
And we do have a $4.99 super chat from Alan. ADD Fidget donation. Want to do my part to keep those underdogs coming from Jakey Boy.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much for the super chat.
Look at this guy, huh? Holy shit.
Vitor, my man, puts in.
Looks like he's fighting Sunshine. Remember Sunshine?
Sunshine.
You don't know who Sunshine? You don't know Sunshine?
It sounds very familiar the way you say it, but no.
Remember the Titans? Sunshine, the quarterback.
Yep, I get it. It does look like him. Good call. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have Vitor Petrino taking on Anton Turkalj. Vitor Petrino 7-0. Overall, he is undefeated in his career with 6 knockout wins. Anton Turkalj is 8-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and that only loss is coming at the hands of Jailton Almeida up at heavyweight. Vitor Petrino is an absolute killer. He gives off Alex Pereira vibes. Just the way he marches forward, those counter hooks, those low kicks. Like literally, he looks exactly like Alex Pereira when he's fighting, sort of in style. And he has that just night-ending power. He's coming off a win on the Contender Series where he was in a full triangle and just Rampage Jackson picked it up, slammed it down. Didn't knock him out or anything like that, but the guy's a beast. He's just an absolute beast. We just don't know yet how he's going to do against a straight-up grappler. We haven't seen that just yet, but phenomenal striker. He's technical. He's not just some wild brawler. Technical striker with very, very big power. And he's taking on Anton Turkalj. He's fun. He's athletic. He'll mix things up in his feet. He has no problem taking risks. And he's really diverse in his striking style. He'll start spinning. He'll kick. He'll charge forward. He's really, really fun to watch. His offensive BJJ is solid, and we know he can wrestle. If you go to his Contender Series fight, he had 11 takedowns in that fight. He's very good. He sort of got the short end of the short notice stick when he stepped up against Jailton Almeida and just got absolutely beat on. But frankly, I think Jailton Almeida is going to end up a UFC champion. This guy's doing. I think he beats Sean Jones. We'll talk about that another day. Anyway, the noises, dude.
Well, that was a wild claim.
It's like you've convinced yourself that there's attractive women listening, which I assure you is probably not the case.
I guarantee. I don't want to be this guy or whatever, but I guarantee Amanda's watching right now. She liked our last video. She was expecting the shirt. You saw a happy shot. She literally was more excited than me to see that shirt that she recognized on the video that she watched because she did like the video. She was probably waiting for this broadcast. And Amanda, I'm happy you're tuned in.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Anyway, I think this is a close fight. I think it's a razor-thin fight. Anton Turkalj is very good, very creative, and we know he can push a wrestling pace. We don't quite know yet from Vitor what that's going to look like when you push a hard wrestling pace. This guy is jacked, fast, hits hard. We've seen him defend some takedowns. We've seen him getting taken down, but then get back up. I still think Vitor is going to win this fight. I don't have a bet here because he does strike me as the type of guy that could be all hammer, no nail. And Anton is the type of guy we're going to find out, right? He's going to come. He's going to look to win this fight. He's going to be aggressive. I know. I said it and I paused. and then I fumbled because I said it and I heard myself say it. Anyway, Vitor's the pick. I think Anton, we're going to find out how good Vitor actually is because I think Anton's going to push a really hard pace. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the way that last little bit there is exactly right. I think we're going to find out who both of these guys are. One of these guys is an actual guy, and we're going to, because of the conflicting styles, you're really going to see who is that guy. And I think it's going to be Vitor in this matchup because he is just such a mean, powerful striker, physical. And when I look at Anton, he almost fights. I mean, this is going to sound a little bit weird, maybe disrespectful, but I don't mean it disrespectful. But he kind of fights the way that he looks in my mind. He wants to be clean. Even in the grappling, the wrestling, it's more of like a methodical jiu-jitsu type grappling more than just like a wrestling, take you down, hold you, ground and pound, that type of thing. He kind of want to, when he has to against the fence, he's more interested in working to try and get your back than keep you on the ground, that type of grappling. And against a guy that's so strong in Vitor, I think Vitor can just kind of out-muscle him in those positions early and is able to find the strikes that he needs. But if Anton is able to pressure him, hold those positions, he definitely can win this fight because I think he can outwork Vitor because I don't think Vitor's, look at that guy. And the way that he fights, there's no way his cardio can hold up over 3 rounds, in my mind, the way that he's able to strike. So Anton's ability, he's just got to survive. And once he's able to survive, then he can start doing what he needs to do. But I think Vitor is able to get to him early, muscle out of those positions that Anton's trying to hold, and find a finish. So I'm actually pretty high on Vitor in this matchup. I just think I don't think Anton is that guy against a guy like Vitor. I think that he's put away.
Yeah, and this may be a solid inside the distance decision, no action spot. I did not take a look at that. I do have a few of those bets on this card, not here, but if we think Vitor's first of all,
I think if he gets tired, I think if he gets tired, he gets finished though.
You think he'll quit?
Yeah, not quit, but I think Anton's good enough that if he knows that Vitor's tired, Vitor doesn't seem like a guy, and I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. Doesn't seem like a guy that when he's getting tired, he's able to fight back. Not saying that he can't mentally or he doesn't want to. I'm not saying he's quitting, but some guys just, you can't really get your breath back. Some people can fight through fatigue, and he just seems like a guy because he's just so big that he can't really fight through fatigue, so he could get finished. But that's just how I feel. It's minus 150.
He's super... Okay, yeah, that's not worth it. He's big, dangerous, hits hard as hell. Anton Turkalj, his last fight is his only loss, and frankly,
and what's his nickname?
It was short notice at heavyweight. It's
like
the
pretty
man.
Boy or something. Oh, it's the Pleasure Man. Like, come
on. Okay, you wouldn't love that nickname?
I did slip him in my business card, which does say the Pleasure Man on it.
I bet it does. Well, boy, but sure. So we're both on the Vitor Petrino side. You're a little more confident in him than I am. I think he wins. We're just going to find out a lot about him, and I think Anton's a good matchup to find out how good
this
Vitor
is good for both
actually is.
Yeah, it's a good matchup for both of them to figure out if they are who they are. Yeah.
Nope, 100%. $8,200 in DraftKings, $8,000 in DraftKings. I think one of them gets finished. So this is going to be one of those spots where pick your side, throw them in your lineup. Vitor Petrino, I'll probably pick that side, $8,200. He hits like a freight train. He's going to come out hot. So I think...
he would have, with the opening line movement, he would have been close to 86, 87, 88, being minus 170. So
no, 100%. So I'll probably spend that $8,200. If you're on the other side, then bet the $8,000 or bet. Then throw them in your lineup for $8,000 because I think there's a finish on either side. And Anton, if he wins and it's grapple heavy, he could score 1,000,000 points. 1,000,000 points.
Yeah, both these guys, whoever wins this fight is going to score well. I don't think it's 100%. A back and forth. Yeah, I don't think it's a back and forth. I think one of these guys really dominates the other one, is how I see it.
No, 100%. And then completely unrelated, D says he's been watching Ozark, and he had to stop in to watch us. If you've been watching Ozark, now you finally get all the times that Jacob says that my wife talks like Ruth. And the edit on that week, the edit on that week in review video.
I did see that. That was pretty funny. D's my dude. He was. I sent a video of me yelling at Brooklyn Wren, the one of the ring girls. I actually yelled at her twice because the first time I did not record it. I was just doing it out of pleasure for myself, and she actually turned and waved like during the early prelims. Then I did it again. I recorded it during the main card, and she just waved. I sent that. That's D's girl. That's D's girl. That's D's girl. Nobody else.
Anyway, you guys want to unlock all of our bets, all of our fantasy insight, the DraftKings optimizer, and that 38 column of detailed data spreadsheet. All of that is available to you for only $10 a month. And in the last 10 minutes, we've got 2 more premium members, Nicholas Horton and Tom Cha. Thank you both very much. And yeah, so thank you all. $10 a month. Thank you very much, Robert Williams on YouTube. Thank you for the support. All of that available, $10 a month. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. You can get all of that forever at $10 a month. I'm never touching that price point. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Said Nurmagomedov taking on Jonathan Martinez. Said Nurmagomedov is 17-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and he's coming off that come-from-behind submission win. Jonathan Martinez is 17-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and he's coming off that first-round stoppage over Cub Swanson. This is an interesting breakdown. First of all, there's 2 Nurmagomedovs on this card, or there were. Now there's only 1. This is not the wrestler. This is a striker. Said Nurmagomedov is a striker. You're going to see the lazy people, and there's lots of lazy people in this space, the lazy people just trying to look at, oh, I see the last name. Oh, he's a good-sized favorite. Oh, he won his last fight by submission. Boom, grappler. No. He's a striker. He won by guillotine after getting beat on, completely out-wrestled for 2 rounds. And he sucked up a guillotine and ruined that dude's career, which is really sad. Anyway, Said Nurmagomedov is a flashy striker. He's very long. He uses that length well. He's dangerous. He can literally throw kicks to your head while only standing like 2 feet away from you. His striking is versatile. His takedown defense is okay. A bit exposed in his last fight, but it is okay. He's 6-1 in the UFC. He's got 4 stoppages and only 2 takedowns. He's not a wrestler. He's not looking for takedowns. And as I mentioned, he's coming off that win over Kakramanov where he was losing that fight. He was getting out grappled, and then he sucked up that submission win. Jonathan Martinez, he's well-rounded. He's got nice technical striking, slick BJJ, a Muay Thai striking style, really nice kicks, and he uses those to control range. On the ground, he's slick. He could snatch something up. He doesn't wrestle often, but when he does, he can have some success there. This is a very close fight. There's 13 fights on this card. I think 11 of them are close, and this is a close fight. I had a lot of people asking me, hey, why isn't Said Nurmagomedov in your safety parlay? You want to add him as a 4th leg? No. I think Said Nurmagomedov wins this fight. This dude continues to find ways to win. You make one little mistake, boom, he wins. But the reality is Jonathan Martinez is very, very good and very, very tough, and he can wrestle and he can strike. And Said Nurmagomedov, while he's continuing to find ways to win, he was losing that last fight. And, I like him to win this fight. I don't have a bet on him. The minus 242 odds after his last fight don't seem appropriate. I picked against him in the last fight, so I might be bitter, and I bet against him. So I might be pretty bitter because that was all looking really good for a while there. But, the pick is Said. The hesitation on betting on him, not putting him in the safety parlay, even though he's such a big favorite, is more out of respect for Jonathan than it is disrespect for Said. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that because Jonathan is a very, very talented guy. I'm a Jonathan Martinez fan. I mean, his kicks is what he probably needs in this matchup because honestly, Jonathan Martinez is a very, very good striker. It's almost like he's fighting a little bit better version of himself. I mean, they're both kind of the same dynamic striker, rangy, can dart in and out with the striking, with the kicks. I think they're kind of mirror images of each other, not as far as like their styles, like they look like each other, but just the way that they strike and what they want to do in their striking seems like they are mirror images of each other. And it feels like Said can work a little bit better when he doesn't have the range. As you mentioned, he is opportunistic. He can do other things. Where Jonathan Martinez, when he is most effective, he is dictating the range. And he's at range, and he's able to do his thing, throw those kicks, in the strikes, out, throw volume when he needs to throw volume, but he really is kind of a counter puncher at range. And I don't think that he's going to be able to have that range against Saeed, because Saeed will pressure, he will crowd people, because he can fight at range, but he doesn't mind crowding people and fighting in that fashion as well. So I like Jonathan Martinez. I think he's a very high-level striker. Unfortunately, I just think that Saeed is just a little bit better than him in the striking, and this is going to be a mostly striking matchup. And unfortunately, too, for Jonathan, I think this bodes well for a Saeed finish in my mind. I mean, Jonathan's a tough dude, but he has been put away before. And Saeed is a finisher, and he's a dangerous striker, and he will pounce on you. I can see him finding a shot and following it up and finishing Jonathan. I just think it's that type of match that kind of sets up a finish. So I like Saeed in this matchup a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we're both on the Saeed side. I wasn't trying to imply that I'm on the Martinez side. I recognize how dangerous Jonathan Martinez is. I recognize that Saeed Nurmagomedov barely won his last fight.
Jonathan can definitely win this fight.
Yeah, so I'm not the safety parlay is supposed to be safe. Valentina blew it up last week, but that was the first loss. The safety parlay was up 21 units. It's now down because of that. So now we're up 18 units because I bet each leg individually. So it's supposed to be safe. I don't think Saeed. I do think he wins. I don't think he wins enough to throw him in a parlay. Is I guess my.
I mean, I'm higher than him on you.
You said that
than
backwards.
You. I'm higher than him.
I'm higher on him than you.
Say that again. I'm higher
on
him
than
in you. On you. What? I'm higher on him
next
than you.
up.
And I still would put him in a parlay. So
there we go. My man, pots and pans. Are you going to spend the $9,100? No, you said you think you get a finish there.
I think that's better value than putting money on him, honestly. But I mean, Jonathan, and somebody put it in the chat as well. Jonathan at $7,100 is because he's. I mean, we said he's a good striker. That's an enticing 7,100, I would say.
He's one of the more live at 7,100, but to your point, he has been finished before, so it's not out of the question that he'll get cracked and then finish. Because Saeed's a very, very good striker, and he wasn't losing the striking exchanges in his last fight. He was losing the grappling exchanges. So
yeah, he's going to be a better striker than most people, for sure.
100%. So both of us are on the Saeed Nurmagomedov side. Neither one of us trust him enough to throw him in a bunch of parlays, even though the comment section seems to be very high on Saeed. And you know what? I mean, he probably wins. So you do you. I'll do me. Any last words for the people before I move to the next fight?
No, I just appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, like the video.
Okay, thank you guys so much. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Ricardo Ramos taking on Austin Lingo. Ricardo Ramos is 16-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that knockout win over Danny Chavez. He's taking Dallas's Austin Lingo on. He's 9-1 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming back after more than a year away. And what's funny is I had just done all my notes for this fight.
And then you're like, oh my God, he's from Dallas. I'm picking him now.
No, I did all the notes for the fights. Then I get a text from Casey's mom, Tiffany's aunt. And she was like, do you know who the Austin Lingo guy is? And I said, oh yeah, I just
he's a family friend.
I just broke down his fight. I guess I think she said his dad like runs a car dealership or something like that. She's like, oh, I just met his dad at the car dealer, something like that. I was like, oh, then don't show him the notes I just sent you. Spoiler alert. I think Ricardo Ramos wins this fight. Ricardo Ramos is super dangerous. He's good everywhere. He's tall, rangy, slick BJJ, has kicks, spinning attacks, a great jab, solid leg kicks. And if he's on the ground, he is always hunting for a submission. He's really fast in those transitions. Austin Lingo is a good fighter. He's very well-rounded. He found himself riding a nice 2-fight win streak, and that was kicked off with a really hard-fought win over Luis Saldana last summer. He's a striker who's light on his feet. He's got power. He's got speed. He likes to mix in elbows and variety. He has a knockdown in every single one of his UFC wins, even though we haven't seen a knockout just yet. This is going to be a fun fight. 2 dangerous guys. I'm definitely giving the edge to Ramos here. I think he just has more versatility on his feet. He's got plenty of takedowns. He's averaging more than 2 per fight. And I think wherever this fight goes, Ramos is just going to be a little bit better. He'll have the better jiu-jitsu. I think he'll have the better striking. I think he has the better wrestling. Austin is super, super tough, so I don't necessarily think there's going to be a quick finish here. But I do like Ricardo Ramos to just sort of be a step ahead everywhere in this fight. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I mean, Ricardo is definitely the better fighter in this matchup. And that's not really to disrespect Austin Lingo, it's just the matter of fact. And the competition that Lingo has been fighting isn't great. Ricardo is definitely the toughest dude that Austin Lingo is ever going to fight. And it's going to be a tough matchup for him. With that said, he is kind of that old school brawling style. I mean, he will get in your face. He will drop his hands. He will throw punches. He is tough as shit. He does not stop moving forward. And that could spell an issue for a guy like Ricardo, because Ricardo is a guy that's very confident on the feet. He will do wild shit, the spinning shit. He has like those 2 spinning back elbow knockouts. He will do the capoeira stuff. That stuff will wear you out. And if Ricardo comes in and thinks that Austin Lingo is going to be an easy finish, and he comes in and he starts doing all that wild stuff before he starts wrestling, and then he tries to use his wrestling because he cannot throw that wild stuff anymore. He realizes he cannot knock out Austin Lingo, and he's like, oh, let me go the easy route now and go to wrestling. I don't think he's going to be able to out-wrestle Austin once Ricardo gets tired. If Ricardo wants to really kind of dominate this fight, I would go to the grappling early. I don't think that's what Ricardo's going to do. I think he's going to come in, and he could knock him out, right? I mean, he's the better striker. He's a dynamic guy. He's got power everywhere. He does wild stuff. But sometimes that wild stuff doesn't work, and you get tired. And against a guy like Austin Lingo, he is that exact style that can just outwork you once you get tired. I put it in my Twitter breakdown that Austin Lingo needs to Nate Landwehr this fight. Survive the early stuff, lay on the pace, lay on the pressure in the second round, and really try to put this guy out in the third round. But I can't rely on Ricardo getting tired, I guess, for this fight. So Ricardo's the pick. He is the better overall fighter. He can win everywhere. I'm just saying I would be careful with the Ricardo side because he does do wild stuff, and crazier things have happened than Austin Lingo out-toughing this guy, surviving early and outworking him. So, but Ricardo's the play.
Yeah, I'm more confident in him than you. I'm more confident in Ricardo Ramos than Said Nurmagomedov. Do you disagree with that statement?
No, I mean Ricardo is a much better fighter than Austin. So I'm just saying I don't want to seem like I'm like leaning on that side. I'm not going to bet him on it or anything like that. If I even thought there's a chance at plus 300 almost, I would put something on it. But I just think that there is a weird situation where Austin Lingo is that type where he's a tough dude and he's a brawler.
Yeah, listen, he's definitely super tough. Some respect should be there, especially if you're looking for a car in the Dallas area. But I like Ramos a lot. I think he's literally just going to be better everywhere. And like you said, you can't, unless he has a history of gassing out and getting finished, you can't just be like, yeah, he's going to gas out. So.
Well, people get weird sometimes.
Yep.
Tell me
about it. Yeah, tell me about it. $9,500 in DraftKings. You spending that on your boy?
My boy.
You spending it?
I don't know why he's my boy. Kind of looks like me, though, doesn't he?
Of all the people on this card, definitely he looks the most like you.
I would say so. Broad shoulders.
Dog tattoo.
Nice eyebrows.
You going to put him in your DraftKings lineup?
I don't know. Probably not.
Super helpful. I think I will. $9,500. I'll have to look at it a little closer, see how they score traditionally. But I think he's one of my more confident picks on the card. And again, this is a card loaded with not very confident picks. I almost didn't do a safety parlay this week. I'm like, I'm supposed to be safe, and there's not a lot of people in this card that I truly trust. Wow. Okay. Class.
Songs.
Anyway, if you guys want to, sorry, I'm like noting things here because I know you're not doing timestamps, so I have to, and lead the show. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, Jakey. Shane Miller, thank you for becoming a YouTube minor. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Probably minor. There's only one N. Thank you. If you want to unlock all of our bets and that safety parlay we keep talking about, head on over to WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. It's only $10 a month. It unlocks literally everything. And
please become a member. I'm trying to pay for this goddamn engagement ring, and the thing is 50, 60 grand. Holy shit. How much do you think I should for, who? How much should I spend, do you think?
I mean, what do they say? 2 months salary. So at 50 grand, you're going to need 35 months salary. Yeah, you don't do that well. We are $10 richer. We have a new premium member, Zalbut Bakdal. Thank you very much, Zaldut. Appreciate you. Everybody else, $10 a month. Click the button. Next up at UFC Vegas 71, we have the rebooked Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. This is a main event 2 weeks ago. Now it's the feature fight. Nikita Krylov bailed on fight night. Card started. We're ready to go. He's in people's lineups. Was it a stomach issue? What was it? Was it a stomach issue?
Diarrhea. Nausea, heartburn, upset stomach.
Indigestion, diarrhea. If I know any song, it's the Pepto-Bismol song.
You sing it every night before you go to bed while you're drinking your Pepto. You do the Pink Ladies before you go to bed? Do you know what the Pink Ladies are?
No.
That's from King of Queens, man. Rum and Pepco. Or Pepco.
Oh,
Pepto.
yeah.
He's like, you like a pink lady? She's like, what is it? Rum and Pepto. Funny. He says Pepto. That is really funny. He gets real excited about it. Arthur Spooner. Rest in peace, my homie.
Was it diarrhea?
I think so. I don't know. Food poisoning.
Well,
there was 3 people that got sick that week, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
So then maybe they had an orgy or something.
Well, one was a ruptured
uterus?
Cyst.
Oh. Actually, it was.
Back.
That's what happens in the orgies. I mean, that's how they get ruptured, Angel. I don't know if you know how that stuff works, but that's literally how you rupture a uterine cyst.
You poke it with your pencil.
You just really
long,
get after
skinny,
it.
and sharp.
Anyway, really just get after it.
Nikita Krylov.
That cervix.
There's your timestamp. Nikita Krylov, 29-9 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that grappling heavy win over Volkan Ozdemir. Ryan Spann, 21-7, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off that knockout over Dominic Reyes. We just broke this fight down in detail.
Yeah, so go watch it.
2 weeks ago.
Shit.
2 weeks ago. And I think it's mostly the same. If you do notice, this is at a catch weight now. I think, 215 pounds or something like that?
It is.
So it's at a catch weight, 10 extra pounds for them. And that is really hard to cut weight twice like that. Very hard, especially if they didn't know it was rebooked just yet. So I do think that the extra weight's probably going to favor Ryan Spann just a little bit. He's the much larger guy. He's not going to have to cut as much. He should feel healthier and more natural in there. With that being said, I don't necessarily change my pick here. I still think it's Nikita Krylov. I still think Nikita Krylov will get the takedowns and win like that. I think he'll grind out a win. I'm much less confident now. I'm not going to do anything with that per se because I just feel like, we don't know how sick he was. We don't know what that actually meant for him. We don't know if it was 3 days of vomiting and this and that, or he just felt a little shitty.
We don't know who asked for the catch weight. Somebody asked for that catch weight.
I imagine it was Ryan, but yeah, there's a lot we don't know.
I mean, you would think it was Ryan, but if it's Krylov, I think that's a red flag.
Yeah, because he's been feeling like shit this whole time. I mean, there's a lot there. So I still think Nikita Krylov is still my pick. I'm not changing the pick necessarily because I have to assume he's fit to fight because he already did the hardest thing, which was canceling a fight that night. That had to be the hardest thing.
I survived cancer, and that was pretty hard.
And because of it, you got to go meet Amanda Ribas. So there you go. So he did the hardest thing, which was, hey guys, I'm not going to be able to be the main event tonight. That must have been like an impossible. He must have told his coach, like, dude, no, are you sure? No, like it must have been a very hard thing to do. Once you've done that, to then be like, hey, I could fight in 2 weeks. I imagine he's ready to fight because there's no reason to quickly turn around and fight in 2 weeks if he's not ready. So assuming he's ready to fight and it was like, let's say a 24-hour stomach bug or something like that, Nikita Krylov is still the pick. I think he's going to get in, close the distance, and wrestle. Wrestle. With that being said, I'm far less confident than I was last time. I'm not betting on that. And I actually think the only bet that I personally would consider is Ryan Spann inside the distance decision, no action. Because I think, Nikita, while he has some finishes, I think he's going to win this fight with wrestling. And Ryan Spann It's going to take that dude's head off or just get out wrestled. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I changed my pick. I'm going Ryan Spann. That's just off a feeling, a gut feeling. I don't like when somebody pulls out of a fight and 2 weeks later it's a catch weight and they're doing stuff. It just feels like something's going to be off on the Krylov side. He's got to be disappointed that happened, the main event spot, and Ryan Spann's got to be a little bit pissed off because that was his moment in his mind to really shine in a main event. And now he's stuck on, it will be in front of a crowd, I guess, but I think he's a little bit pissed off and comes in a little bit motivated. And this was a close fight either way. I think we both agree with that to start with. I was on Krylov the first time because I thought he was going to be relentless. But with him pulling out, 2 weeks notice, catch weight, now he can't be as relentless. So I think Ryan Spann can kind of outwork him and get this done, either a submission or a TKO. Don't rule out submission. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to knock him out. I mean, Ryan Spann will
he has
snatch
more
up
submissions
next.
than knockouts.
Right. He will snatch up next, especially against a guy like Krylov, who, if he starts getting relentless with it, maybe gets a little bit sloppy too. So I completely flipped my pick strictly because the fight dropped. It was Krylov, the reasoning for the drop. So 2 weeks later, I'll take the guy that was not shitting his pants,
Well, and to your point, Ryan Spann has more submission wins in the UFC than knockout wins. So yeah, don't just start chasing that KO for sure. And I listen, I'm not betting the Krylov side, so your logic is sound. Like this dude, you were too sick to fight 2 weeks ago. Now you're good, peak physical condition, you're ready to go. I get it. I assume because he's showing up, I have to assume he is ready to go. So pick wise, it's going to be Krylov. Money wise, nothing. I'm going to leave it alone. Too much going on there. And looks like the line, I don't remember what the line closed at last time. I should have looked that up because I'm curious to see what this looks like compared to what I think
it's pretty similar if I remember correctly. It's pretty similar.
It could be. So I guess then the bookies were not scared off by Nikita Krylov pulling out there. So are you going to spend the $7,500 in DraftKings with your newfound pick?
I think it's definitely an option for this fight because I think it's a close fight and Krylov needs to get takedowns to win. I think we both kind of agree with that. You just think he's able to get them, and I'm not so sure. So
yeah, I hear you. I mean, I agree. He needs takedowns to win. That's his only option, and hopefully he's physically fit enough to get those takedowns. He's not a little bit weak. So yeah, I mean, Ryan Spann, if you're on that side, then do all the things because you're going to get decent money. $7,500 DraftKings is solid for a dude who is 6'5", hits like a freight train, and can submit you. And
well, I think that's one of the reasonings too. Is before it was going to be a 5-round fight, and Krylov can really wear people down. Yeah. I mean, and that's. I thought that even if Ryan Spann survived, I think he was able to get worn down, and this is a lot different. Ryan Spann doesn't have to really pace himself quite as much.
But I would actually say the 3 rounds might favor Nikita here in that if he is not 100%, he doesn't have to keep up the pace for 5 rounds.
But I think that's how he beats people. He's able to work people down. Obviously, he's done that over 3 rounds before. It's not like he's needed 5 rounds to get that done. But I just think it helps Ryan Spann a little bit more in that situation.
Yeah, listen, I'll be rooting for Ryan Spann. I'll be rooting for him. And I have no money on this fight, so it is what it is. If you want to become a premium member, WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10. You're going to get literally everything that I always mention. The bets, the picks, the optimizer, the DraftKings ownership. This is now the 3rd event in a row where we had the best possible ownership in the industry. You can go pay $100 for a Roto Grinders. Their ownership projections are not as good as ours. They just aren't. Ours are better. That's an objective statement. Compare the numbers. WeWantPicks.com for all the things. And our buddy Shane Minner is now a premium member. I have the alert on my minor. I have the alert on my phone as well. So
are you just not allowed to say minor for some weird reason?
I don't.
Like a probation thing?
It's not. Yeah.
Like court ordered?
I don't read. It's spelled differently, but when you just say it and people hear it, you never know. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have the co-main event of the evening, another polarizing fight that people are pretty split on. We have Alexander Volkov taking on Alexander without an E, Romanov. Alexander Volkov, 35-10. Overall, he is 3-2 in his last 5, alternating wins and losses. And he's taking on Alexander Romanov, 16-1. 4-1 in his last 5, and that lone loss of his career was his last fight against Marcin Tybura, where it was still a close fight. He still got some takedowns. He still made some stuff happen, but ultimately he slowed down and Marcin Tybura did not. and Marcin was able to get it done because he pressured forward. He didn't slow down, and he didn't sort of give in to the altitude. Jacob likes to point out that was an altitude-heavy card.
It was an altitude-heavy card. We saw it with Romanov. We saw it with Leon Edwards. We saw it with Aldo. We saw it with AJ Fletcher. We honestly saw it with Tyson Pedro as well in his fight. There was a lot of people on that card that got very tired very, very quickly because of the altitude. Do you know where there's no altitude? London, England, where there's going to be no altitude for my guy Leon Edwards when he absolutely starches and destroys that old man Kamaru Usman and sends him off the fucking retirement. It is going to be a bloodbath, and I cannot wait. UFC 286. Tune in, become a premium member today. $10 a month. Back to you.
Thank you, Jacob. Back in the studio, we're breaking down Alexander Romanov and Alexander Volkov. As mentioned, Alexander Romanov slowed down in that last fight. He has slowed down in other fights as well, though. That's not the first time. Juan Espino, he slowed down there as well. So we have seen him sort of gas over time. The Marcin Tybura loss was a tricky one. We thought he would, or at least I thought, I don't remember what you picked. I thought he would out-wrestle Marcin, who sort of seems to rely on his wrestling quite a bit. And he did out-wrestle him, but again, slowed down. Judges didn't like it. He didn't get that decision. Alexander Volkov, this dude's been around forever. He has been a top 10 heavyweight for more than 6 years. Good striker, high IQ. He's got fast. He's got volume. He picks his shots well, and he does adapt in fights. He's not a big power guy. He's not a one-punch, knock-you-out kind of guy. He's a well-timed guy. He is pretty durable for the most part. And, all of his fights for the last 10 years, however long he's been in the UFC, 8 years, have been consistently against some of the best people in the world. This is very simple, though. To me, this is a very simple breakdown. Tom Aspinall was able to take him down several times and then submit him. Alexander Romanov is probably not going to get the submission, but he will get the takedowns. I'm hoping that loss was embarrassing, and he's going to go back and work on that cardio, work on that wrestling pace. It's not the first time we've seen him get tired, but this was a loss instead of a win. And I think Romanov's going to get takedown after takedown after takedown and get this done. With that being said, Volkov is a tried and true vet. He's not as old as you think he is, and it's very possible that he's still hanging around. He just knocked out Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and this is a guy that doesn't normally have power. He just knocked out Jairzinho Rozenstruik. So Romanov is still the pick. I think a wrestle-heavy game plan, which is what he will have, will work well against Volkov because he hasn't really fought that guy yet. What do you think?
Let me first start and talk about Volkov because I think that you nailed it, and I don't want to mean any disrespect when I do my breakdown, any disrespect to Volkov because honestly he's probably the most underrated heavyweight. When everyone talks about heavyweights and this guy, nobody ever mentions Volkov, and he literally will pretty much outstrike everyone in the division. I mean, I think he can almost outstrike everyone in the division. He is that talented as a kickboxer with his length, with his range. He can keep distance, keep people at bay. And now, as you mentioned, is starting to find even more power than he had previously. I mean, he's still coming into his, surprisingly, as you mentioned, his grown man body. He's only 34 years old. I'm still growing into my body, you know? Romanov, I mean, he dominated that last fight in the first round, right? I mean, he did exactly what he does every single fight. He picked him up, he slammed him down, he completely controlled. Tybura had zero strikes in the first round, completely controlled him. Then the altitude hits. The same thing happened to a number of those fighters. He still was able to. And the same thing kind of happened with Leon. I know I'm kind of talking about that, but they're not tired, so they can still kind of work through stuff. They're just like in slow motion, so it's not like he was quitting or anything like that. I don't think the cardio is going to be an issue. You're not going to see after this fight. This is the best odds that you're ever going to see for Romanov, minus 150, because after this fight, I think he comes in, gets to the tall man's legs, does what he's done every single fight, and that's pick him up, slam him down, and finds a finish in the first round against a guy that is a little bit susceptible on the ground, flat on his back, and that's exactly where Romanov puts people every single fight that he fights. So I see the same thing happening, and you're not going to see minus 150 for Romanov probably ever again. I mean, that guy's going to go to every single fight from here on out, minus 200. So if you want value, I think that's the value, and that's no disrespect to Volkov. It's just a bad matchup for him. Romanov is just that dominant, and I think he shows up and shows that he's still that guy that everyone thought he was, and the guy that he was. I mean, in the first round of that fight. So
Yeah, he did not look bad in that fight. That's why I was chose my words cleverly, meaning like I was very careful with he slowed down. He lost that fight because he slowed down.
Right.
He didn't suck. He didn't shit the bed. He just slowed down.
Right.
And Marcin Tybura did not. And good for Marcin Tybura to get that win out, especially after that first round. So we're both aligned here. Alexander Romanov opened as a plus 130 underdog. And now, like you said, he's minus 155, minus 160. And you're right. That's going to be some of the best price you're going to get on this guy for a very, very long time. We're both on the same page here. Do I have the DraftKings pricing backwards, or is Alexander Romanov $7,600?
Well, if he opened as a dog, I don't know. I didn't look.
No, DraftKings is usually...
You would think it'd be after the fact, but
even at $8,600, let's say I have it reversed. Even at $8,600, Alexander Romanov, I think, is solid value in that fight.
Romanov is 8,600. You do have
I have the pricing reversed. Fine, I'll fix it. Even at 8,600, well, I'm a one-man show here.
Oh, my God.
All the work. Yeah, okay. I don't just get to wear goofy shirts and record myself, and then everybody loves me on Twitter because I wear a stupid-ass shirt.
Say more.
Dumbass shirt.
Keep going. Let it out, man. We're here for you. Let it out. Come on. Let it out. Come on.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Say what you want to say. Say it. Come on.
I can't say what I want to say here.
That's what I thought. I wouldn't say it to me either. Not in front of a crowd.
Oh, that should be the safest play to say it. You're so scary and dangerous. You wouldn't dare hit me in front of a crowd.
I'll smack the shit out of you.
I think people finally... Did you see my vlog where Bo walked in
I didn't
and
watch that shit,
himself?
no.
Yeah, what an absolute...
No, I did. Because I was like, I mean... That's just rent free. I'm not even there. I'm across the country, and the first thing he says when he gets in the door is, "Oh, Jacob." I mean, that meant on the whole way there. Where was he walking barefoot? I don't know what he was doing, but
he literally
the whole
had
way
to walk
there,
to
he
my
was
house.
just thinking, "What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say?" He's gonna be filmed.
Because he knew I was gonna show up on the camera.
I know. I'll make fun of Jacob. Oh, because he's not here to defend himself. Because I'm scared of him. Jesus Christ. The second I'm across the country is when Bo starts running his fucking mouth, and I'm not surprised in the least. Just like when you walk out the room and he starts running your mouth. I mean,
every time I walk out the room, I could take Angelo down. He's never wrestled a day in his life. He's a D1 football player, 6'8", whatever the hell he is. Never wrestled a day in his life. I could take Angelo down. But that was funny where he's like, you see where I am in this door? Was this an 8-foot door? You see where I am?
The second he walked in,
remember when Jacob walks in where he is.
Couldn't wait to say it. Thought he was the funniest dude in the world.
That was solid. The vlogs are starting to build characters that aren't us, which is interesting.
Bunch of assholes.
My prick friends that come watch fights. Anyway, we're both on the same side. Do you agree with $8,600 on Alexander Romanov?
I think it's going to be one of the better values. You know he's going to get at least one takedown. I mean, you know he's going to get a takedown.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. We're all over Romanov. I don't have a bet on him. I think you do, though.
Do I?
Oh, maybe not. Well, anyway, if you want to unlock...
Well, maybe.
There it is. Okay. If you want to unlock all of our bets, including Jacob's, for this fight, weownpicks.com. It's only $10 a month. That's weownpicks.com. At the top, click become a member. It's only $10. And since we've been recording this breakdown, Matt Klugen and Gerard Nathanson both signed up to be premium members. Sorry, I'm butchering your names, guys, but thank you very much.
First and last, too. You put the governments on there. They could be in witness protection or something. Use some weird credit card they didn't think was going to get read off, and then
I don't know their credit card information. I just get a PayPal alert.
I know, but they used a thing that, and now the name pops up, and I mean, you're just going to throw out governments like that. You don't even have your own name on the thing.
It was what's his name? Oh man,
Jack Mehoff.
Who's the no that lawyer, that fucking ambulance chaser? No, the Tiger King. Who's the husband that they're looking for?
They're looking for someone?
You know Tiger King?
Yeah.
Carol Baskin's husband died or didn't he disappeared?
Okay.
So I'm joking that it's him. It's him.
Who's him?
His name.
Okay. Oh, holy shit, man. That was a stretch, man.
Hey, listen, it wasn't bad.
Holy shit, that was butchered in a fucking stretch.
It was.
See what I was talking about
butchered.
with the different comedy levels and stuff? I mean, this is just prime example of what the fuck are you talking about?
First of all, honestly, the thought, it wasn't a bad thought. It was, I couldn't remember his name.
I get out there with thoughts, but at least I can connect it. You were out there and there was lost. I mean, that punchline was lost in fucking space.
I couldn't remember his name.
That thing was George Clooney out there floating around in gravity. See how I did that? See how I, boom, right there? See that? That's that next level I'm talking about. I'm trying to tell you guys.
Oh, good job with all the space movie. If you guys don't know, Jacob's a giant space nerd. And thank you, Stephen Bates, who just signed up as well. Full name.
Look, it's
I'll stop reading last names because you're right. Maybe people don't want their last names out here.
That's the moon.
Oh my God. Dude, what the fuck?
That's the moon.
Jesus Christ. Okay, one more fight. Let's go. Next up, at UFC Vegas 71, we have Petr Yan taking on Merab Dvalishvili in the main event of the evening. Petr Yan, 16-4 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, coming off 2 controversial losses in a row. Merab Dvalishvili, 15-4 overall, 5-0 in his last 5, with his last loss being all the way back in 2018. I think this is a lot closer than these odds are saying. I know a lot of people love Merab. He's a lot of big underdog favorite, if that logic makes sense. Coming into this week.
That one actually did work. Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're finally warming up. We're an hour and almost 2 hours in.
2 hours in. Oh, your fat dick dog feeder is going to go off any second now.
That's what we know. Buzzer. We got 5 minutes.
2 hour mark. Anyway, Petr Yan, we all know how good he is, right? He's a phenomenal striker. He's got fantastic takedown defense, surprisingly solid takedown offense as well that he's been working in. Dangerous striker, and he's very underrated in the wrestling. It's very hot here. He's very underrated.
You know what's funny is I just turned down my AC too. I think that like the exact moment. Holy shit! Oh shit!
Thank you so much.
Look at that. Low flex maybe. Oh, those are things that are tight. Oh, you see that's how tight those were. Rip that thing up. Where's it start and where's it end?
Do it. No, go ahead, flex. Like when you talk to a short person, stand up.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
See that thing.
Anyways.
No,
I was flexing. Anyway, Petr Yan.
That was flexing. Hold on. That was you said?
That wasn't flexing. It was tensing.
Oh, tensing. Got it.
Anyway, shut the fuck up, you skinny dork. Come over here and slap your stupid pencil neck. Anyway, word free. Petr Yan, 90%.
I got that timestamp. I got the timestamp. Don't worry about that.
90% take. And Jesse E. I won't say the whole last name. Jesse E. Just became pre-member. Not gonna say. I've learned my lesson. No last name. Anyway.
Oh shit! Everyone should just turn this shit off.
And the views are now, which it's anyway.
That makes sense to me.
Petr Yan, good everywhere. Phenomenal takedown defense. And he's going to need every bit of that because he's fighting Merab Dvalishvili, has phenomenal conditioning, nonstop chain wrestler, solid striking and power. He times his takedowns incredibly well, and even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter because he's just going to keep diving and keep shooting and keep working towards those legs. He averages 6.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. His last loss was to Ricky Simone all the way back in 2018, and he still took Ricky down 6 times. He's coming off that win over Jose Aldo, where
altitude, red flag.
Jose Aldo had incredible takedown defense there.
He just couldn't get off the cage.
It was one of the worst fights we've ever seen. Yeah, Merab just held him against the cage and tried to work takedowns that whole time. That's my fear for this fight, that he's just going to do the exact same thing to Petr Yan. The only difference is Petr Yan is not Aldo. He's not hesitant. He will let his hands go. He will send a knee up the middle. He will actually attack. And not that Jose doesn't attack, but it was almost like his whole focus was don't get taken down, where I don't think Petr's going to be as worried. I think he's going to let his hands go. I feel like after the Valentina loss, and we've seen a lot of changing in the guard, some of these old people, and I'm going to pick Petr Yan, but the one thing that worries me the most here is Davison Figueiredo, right? That guy was the champ. Looked phenomenal. Even in the fights against, what's his name, looked phenomenal. And then the last fight, he finally looked like old and slow and didn't look very good. And I'm worried that's going to happen with Piotr. The loss to Sugar Sean O'Malley, it actually showed us how tough Petr Yan is because we haven't seen him be a human being before. Right? Like, look at his last couple of losses. They're a joke. The one was the knee up the middle to Aljamain. He was beating the piss out of him. The next was a bad decision to Aljamain. And then the last one was a bad decision to Sean O'Malley. But that Sean O'Malley fight was the first time we actually seen him in some trouble. And he showed up. He stood back up. He kept going out there, kept trying to make it happen, kept wrestling, kept throwing hands. I like Piotr to win this fight. I think he's going to get it done. Absolutely no bet whatsoever. I did not bet the John Jones-Cyril Gane fight. And it was honestly kind of liberating to just watch a fight. I can't believe
the people that were on the Gane side. Oh my God.
Morons.
Fucking clowns. Holy
Morons.
Shit. Could you imagine thinking that guy had a chance against the GOAT? Holy shit.
Not everybody's as sharp as we are. Anyway, I like Petr Yan to win this fight. I think he's going to be literally better everywhere, except we know the wrestling's going to be the game plan from Rob. 2-hour mark, you fat dog. But I think his takedown defense can hold up, and unlike Aldo, I think he'll let his hands go. I think he'll throw knees up the middle. I think he'll make stuff happen instead of just holding his back against the cage for 25 minutes. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Well, I think one thing we know that Petr Yan's going to lose the first round because, I mean, that's just what he does. And I don't think that he's able to have that. I don't think he can do that in this fight. He's got to take rounds early because I have seen Merab out-wrestle people for 3 rounds. I know that he can out-wrestle and outwork people for 3 rounds. And in a 5-round fight, you just lost the fight. And Petr Yan usually gives up the first rounds to make those reads. And I could see this looking like every single Petr Yan fight to where he's losing early. Merab probably wins the first 3 rounds with his wrestling. Then Piotr's finding the reads that he makes because he always makes reads. He always gets better as fights goes on. Stuffs some takedowns, reverses some positions, and looks great in the 4th, 5th rounds. But guess what? You already lost the fight because Merab is just that vicious with the takedowns. I don't think there's any question that Merab is a way, way better wrestler than Aljo. And there's a big difference between wrestling and grappling. So I don't want people to be like, oh, no, he's the human backpack. Aljo is the better grappler. If you get him in grappling situations, he's very good at getting people's backs with sweeps, all that stuff. But when it comes to explosive takedowns with technique and holding people down to the ground without transitioning to a backpack type of situation, Merab is the much better wrestler. And Aljo was able to get those takedowns on Petr Yan. I think Aljo's takedowns kind of suck. The reason I picked him in that second one, I picked him both times. I'm not an Aljo hater. I picked him both times. Was because he was able to get those positions. And if he can get in those positions, Merab can definitely get in those positions and get Petr Yan to the ground. So I've seen Merab do it for 15 minutes. We'll see if he can do it for 5 total rounds. That would be even more impressive if he can control this the whole time. Maybe he can. But I know he can do it for 3 rounds. I think that's all it's really going to take in this matchup. And let's not underestimate the striking of Merab as well because he is a very powerful puncher. And he hides it well. Because he's so relentless with those takedowns, he can do those level changes, the head duck with the big right hands over the top. And we saw Sugar touching up Petr Yan. I know that Sugar is the striker that he is. He's not even close as far as comparison to Merab. But Merab hides those strikes very well with those level changes. So I like Merab to grind out the victory. I think it's probably going to be boring. I think it's not going to be a lot of fun. I don't think Merab's going to be a fun champion. But I think he definitely can become champion. With his relentless wrestling. I just think he's too much with the wrestling. He gets Petr Yan, he gets him to the ground, wins the first 3 rounds, and it's going to be too little too late once again for Petr Yan in this matchup.
Listen, I'm not going to, again, I like Petr Yan here, but I'm not betting on it. I'm just going to enjoy the fight. There's too many unknowns, and the odds are way too wide for a fight like this. Like, it's a very clear path for Merab. But we've seen him be a little bit chinny. Marlon Moraes almost had that dude dead to rights out cold. He recovered, came back. He won by stoppage. But we have seen him get cracked. We have seen him have some issues. And obviously Petr Yan was cracked by Sean O'Malley, but as we just mentioned.
Right. And people are mentioning his takedown defense and stuff too. And a lot of those numbers are against Aljo. I think Aljo's like a total of like 4 of like fucking like 40 takedowns against Petr Yan. But what I was saying was he was still able to get to legs, right? He was still able to get to a leg, and then that's when Petr is defending the takedown, right? To defend the takedown kind of has to be there. Merab in those same positions is a much better wrestler than Aljo is. Aljo just tries to kind of like inside trip and he won't muscle people. Merab will get all over you. So if Merab can get in those same positions where Aljo was 2 of 14 or wherever he was, Merab is going to be much more successful in those positions. So yeah, he was able to defend it against Aljo. Merab is a different animal in those positions.
I hear you. I'm on the Petr Yan side, but again, no bet. Not going to go crazy.
We didn't bet this one. We didn't bet this card at all.
No, because I think even when we disagree, this card is so tricky. There's so many close.
And I mentioned it before too. It's like this card for betting was like, especially coming off such an easy card to bet. I mean, obviously there was some upsets, but it was pretty chalk last week. This one, there's some odds in there. It's like seems like a lot of traps.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you messaged me the other day. You're like, I might only bet 3 units, and I was like, don't force anything. It is more important for us to put out quality bets because. For premium, that's.
But when I come off of a 15-unit win last week, it's very It's very hard not to be like, okay, here we go, a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle here.
I know, and I'm glad you didn't because that is when you get crazy. Put on my
little Tinkerbell outfit and just go to town.
You get a bet, and you get a bet. Just Oprah throwing bets out at every single fighter on the card. But I'm glad you're a little more reserved. It's more important to get them right. I'd rather give everybody 2 units of net profit than lose, but we had 20 units on the board.
And what a great beard by Merab as well. Looks similar.
Yeah, you guys are built similar. Both 5'3.5". You guys are very, very similar people. I guess you're going to love $7,000 in DraftKings, and I don't hate it. $7,000 for a dude that's definitely going to get some control time and some takedowns. I honestly, the pricing, the odds, it's all a bit surprising to me. Like, I get it. Petr Yan's a former champ. Frankly, hasn't lost any of these recent fights. I think we agree on that, right?
Yeah, the plus 150 makes sense to me. I think that exploding out to minus 260 seems a little bit wild for the relentlessness of Merab.
Yeah, so I think we agree, even though we ultimately came to different conclusions here. We showed our work on the math equation, same exact work, 2 different answers. But
wait, what'd you just do?
It was a good reference.
Did you do this?
Work? No, I did not.
Oh, I swear to God, and that's not. I swear to God, I was looking at the chat, and on my screen there's a chat, and I can see you right to my up right, and I was reading the chat, and I just saw hands go up, and I thought you were like, I was like, wow. Oh, shit.
No, I did not.
I'll have to watch it back.
Okay. I'm positive you will. You absolute disgusting.
That's what the second I've said it before, but the second we go off of here, I draw a bath and I watch this all over again. I just start laughing to myself and I enjoy myself.
Nobody likes you more than you like you. That is for absolute 100%.
There's nobody that likes Texas more than Texas. There's nobody that likes tongue rings more than girls with tongue rings. That's my favorite one. They always show off the tongue ring. They're like, look at that. And there's nobody that likes a salamander more than the slippery salamander.
I thought you were freckled. Stop with the noises, dude. And I have the freaking ear pods in. Like,
I think that's what they do.
Okay, this is like the opposite of ASMR. This is
predictions on Vittori Delidze. Martin Vittori sucks.
Okay, well,
it's not this type of podcast, is it? Sorry.
No, it is not. That's the call-in show. Anyway, guys, that's the breakdown on this fight. Don't forget, become a premium member. We gave you 13 units of net profit. That includes the safety parlay loss with Valentina Shevchenko. Jacob was up 15.26 units on his own. I was almost up 1 on my own. The safety parlay missed. What are you laughing at?
No, I'm typing this out because somebody said, is it slippery or is it freckled? I said, it's only slippery in the right company. You know what I mean?
See, nobody likes Jacob more than Jacob. Anyway, we gave you 13 units of net profit last event alone. Last event alone, the safety parlay missed because of Valentina Shevchenko. It is still up 18 net units over the last 13 events, that includes the lost units on Valentina Shevchenko. And every number I give you is a net, not a gross. We now have the metrics and analytics pages on the website, a 38-column spreadsheet loaded with data, insight, and information that you can use to make decisions to find your spots. That last fight we broke down, we were looking at takedown defense versus takedown average. Stuff like that. You can use that data, make your own decisions. We then take that up, slice it up, give it to you in digestible formats. WeWantPicks.com, click become a member. Not only is it the bets, it's the picks. It's the insight. There's articles. We have the DraftKings Optimizer, FanDuel rankings, DraftKings rankings, player rankings, all of this incredible content for only $10 a month. There's nobody on this planet that's going to be able to compete with that price point or that value. And don't forget, guys, $50. Just go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners. Make your deposit using our link, and I will send you $50 as a thank you. Anything else, Jackie Boo?
I could sit here and talk about a lot of things.
Thanks for the watch, and we'll see you later this week with the rest of our content.